Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. It's Berks is back. So Croncy is actually away, guys. He's at DreamHack Australia, and so he couldn't make it. And I thought Berks would be the perfect host because he was actually one of the people that were going to be the host of Answer the Call, probably.
True.
But yeah, there was lots of other things going on. So first things first. Congratulations. For people that don't know, Berks got engaged recently. So congratulations,
Thank you.
Yeah, really
I appreciate it. Thank you, man.
She's great. I got to meet Angie in person and Berks the other day, and it was awesome. I wish we had more time, and it would have been great. So we'll have to do more of that. But before we get into any of that, if you guys are new here, Answer the Call. It's a podcast where you guys can call in, talk about Star Citizen, stuff like that. It's also, we have a YouTube channel dedicated for it. Some people are watching live. Hello, guys. I see you there. And you guys can get subscribed there because this is one of the only channels that I've run that has more views than it has subscribers. So make sure you guys get subscribed if you're enjoying it. Outside that, welcome, Berks. I think you are the perfect guest for the moments that we're in right now. And the reason being is, the topic today is Star Citizen 323 driving people mad? I think there's lots of master modes people freaking out. I think there's lots of people freaking out about FPS stuff. And I think there's a lot of people freaking out about Escape from Tarkov. And I think you're very uniquely positioned to talk about both subjects and how they kind of intersect, because I think that they really do. And I think it'll be a really interesting topic about live service games, how they're funded, and all that stuff. So I think that's kind of the direction that we're going in with today's show. But first off, how you doing? How you feeling about 323?
I'm doing good. I mean, my title yesterday on stream was I love 323. And I had so many people come to my chat and being like, are you being sarcastic? Is this like a joke title? And I had to be like, no. Like, yes, the server performance hasn't been great, but you know, call me crazy, I'm not going to judge a patch on its server performance in the EPTU. It's like I'm not going to say, oh, well, you know, it's done for. Yeah, absolutely.
Good, you shouldn't. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I tell that people all the time. They're like, oh, so it's going to be good for live? And I'm like, well, let's wait and see.
Yeah.
We should always hold our reservations for performance, like specifically until live. Because you just don't know. Like, there's going to be hiccups. There's going to be, you know, things that CIG doesn't account for. Most likely, right? So I think that's where my love and concern is stemming from 323.
Yeah, fair enough. The one thing that we said we were going to talk about right away, we used to do a podcast together. We're not doing it at the moment. And I've got a few people were like, hey, what happened to desync? What happened to desync? So I feel like we've talked about it a million times. I guess we just get it out of the way. It's a lot. It's a lot to run a Twitch channel, your own dedicated Star Citizen YouTube channel, and another podcast. It's a lot. It is a lot. Actually, it's more than a lot. It's probably too much.
Think about it this way. I was too busy to even host ATC with Mike, you know, originally. This is like a special thing because it's like at the end of the day, like when I'm done with this podcast, I'm about to go work for 8 hours, like doing non-streaming work.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've got things to do, unfortunately. I know, Mike, you've got things to do too.
I had a hockey game today.
Yeah, desync was something that I really loved. It's making content with you is something I really love. Yeah. But, you know, our schedules don't quite line up and in every perfect way. And then also on top of that, you know, we both just have lives outside of streaming. So, yeah, it was something that I loved doing for a long time. I've told people like there's not a 0% chance it never comes back, but things would just have to be different for both of us.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. I think the big thing that we really wanted to do was be in person.
Yeah.
That would make it so easy because then it removes so many hurdles, and it would just be, hey, I'm coming over to Berks. We're gonna film a podcast, and that'll be that, and we just talk about whatever. It'd be sick. But as far as another thing that people were asking me about is CitizenCon. And obviously, like, you guys were at CitizenCon, like everybody was last year. I did the thing with Level. I already reached out to Level because he's so far west, and I was like, are you down to do this again? But and he said yeah. But I wanted to do, because it's in the UK. More US people are going to be here. Like, I'm definitely want to do it with you. Definitely want to bring Croncy
Mhm.
in. I just don't know how it's going to work
Right.
exactly. I just haven't reached out to you yet, but I definitely want to do it, and I don't know how you want to do it and
Mhm,
all that
mhm, mhm.
stuff. So no matter what we do, if Berks is streaming something on his channel, I think we will intersect no matter how it goes.
Yeah, most
Is
likely.
my guess.
I haven't thought about it a lot, to be honest.
Neither have
Um,
I.
it still seems pretty far out. My main thing is that I'm definitely not going, and it's not
Same.
because I don't want to go. I actually would really love to go. It's an expensive trip.
Yeah.
It's a really expensive trip. So next year, potentially Austin.
Yeah,
That'd
then
be
you
really
could
cool.
that's a cheap one for you. Like, you could
Yeah,
literally
really
be at
cheap
home.
one.
You don't even have to
Yeah,
get a hotel.
literally just walk over to the convention center, honestly. Um, but yeah, I would love to do a Citizen Con again. Would love to meet people again. I mean, honestly, Mike, like meeting you the other day was like so cool. Love to be able to like get together and like hang out again like that in
Yeah.
person again.
Yeah, we were a little rushed. Like, I was
Yeah,
literally
we were.
Berks's Uber. Like, I picked him up, we got some breakfast, and then we had to bring him to the airport. So it was like, yeah. And what do we do? Like, there wasn't. It just, yeah. So it wasn't like a situation where it's like we could have chilled a lot. So
Yeah.
that'd be super sick.
But yeah, we'll just have to, we'll have to see where future Citizen Cons go. But
Hmm.
I'm not personally going. Yeah, hope everyone who does go has fun because it seems like it's going to be a really sick trip.
Yeah, for real, for real. But all right, I guess we should get talking about 323 a bit.
Let's do it.
You're feeling really good about it. I'm maybe less so, but not.
Okay.
I'm not feeling terrible about it.
Let's
But
start with your concerns. Honestly, that's what I would love to hear. I haven't really got to talk to anyone about
stability,
323.
stability for the most
Stability.
part.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I think
I'm
it's
worried
very
about that too.
yeah, I think it's very clear that things are being rushed for the ship sale and stuff, and it is what
Absolutely.
it is what it is. I think that is definitely something that we're going to talk about today. Is like, companies have to make some money. This is something that absolutely
Absolutely.
has to happen, right? Does it have to happen in this way? I don't really think so. It is an in-game event that is not a real thing, so the date of the in-game event doesn't exist. So if you need to push it back a little bit to make sure that experience is not what we're experiencing now, like constant crash to desktop, or not crash to desktop, but constant
Right.
server crash loops, things like this that are absolutely problematic. If we can't get
So
those fixed, do we really go
here's
live with this? I don't know.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm just gonna give a warning for CIG because there really is like concern for warning here. Is that CIG actually has the opportunity? The number one question that's been in my chat is, I haven't played since 318. Is it good now? I haven't
Yeah.
played since 318. Is it good
Mm-hmm.
now? I haven't played since last year in June when 318 was. Is it good now? And CIG has the opportunity to earn a lot of trust back with the community with this patch. If this doesn't go good, I don't know. It's gonna be really bad. I just hope that they don't, even if they need to have 323 in, or sorry, not 323, 322 for Invictus. I genuinely believe that is the right move. If it's an unstable, buggy, terrible patch, man, they are going to drive that trust more into the ground. I feel like they have an opportunity to do a really good thing or a really bad thing here, and I really hope they see how pivotal it is because it's a big deal. This patch is a big deal for a lot of people.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the reason why is because it's the first major patch with major Citizen Con. I would put quote around features. I think it's a lot of quality of life. I don't think there's been too many things added to the game that are like super mind blowing outside of maybe distribution centers being really big. Like you can maybe call
It's not mind blowing.
yeah, and even those are, I don't think, very exciting personally, but I haven't got to experience them very much outside of Evocati and them being quite empty, no missions at them yet, things
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
And yeah, like for me, I don't know. I think people are overhyping what the patch will be. The people that are on the outside, like, it's first patch since Citizen Con. I saw this cool Citizen Con stuff. I want to play this. I'm excited for this game. Next patch, I'm coming in. And
Yeah.
I think they're going to hit the wall and be like, whoa, what the hell is this shit? In some cases, right? But at the same time, I think a lot of the stuff they've done in 323 is for those people, right? uh, like I used the star map today to direct myself somewhere. It's a little buggy, but I went from my hab to on a train through Microtech and went to a weapon shop using like a map, like a normal thing you would see in a normal video game.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, those are experiences that people will just experience and be like, nice. Like they won't even think anything of it. But that's part of it being good for them, because what we've had in the past is like, where do I go? What do I do? Oh my God, what's happening?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of good stuff there, but go ahead.
Yeah. So I want to clarify that I in no means think that this is like the Jesus patch and that,
Yeah.
oh, guys, Star Citizen's finished. Because some people are kind of making it seem like that's the case. But that's not the truth. This is still a very content dry patch. Like the content in it is not unbelievable. It's not game changing.
Cargo was the content for me.
Sure. But that wasn't even content in my mind, right? Like, unless there's like new, cool, unique missions that come with it, that's a different story. But like, even missions are really not enough. Missions have to be connected to major loops, right? Crafting, trading, mining, and I think that, or base building in the future, right?
Yeah.
I think that they have to be connected to give you reasons to do the other big gameplay loops in the game, right? If literally Star Citizen is show up to location, do thing, leave, and nothing else matters outside of that context, that's really lame and very rudimentary, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like the Copian quest, for example, I literally ranked it not fun out of 10. Like that's the most polite way I can say it. Like you fly in the middle of nowhere for like 30 minutes to get there. And
Does
then
it direct you where to go?
It does direct you where to go,
Okay.
but it's like you got to scan for these things and then they're just sitting still, or you go to a cave where like, you know, they're tucked away behind a wall that you can't get to and you're looking around for 20 minutes. They're not moving when you shoot them. There's like 4 of them in there. And then you're just like, okay, like, was this a clear quest or was this like a fetch quest? Because the truth of the matter is that they're trying to make a like invasive species quest. You should go into a cave and there should be like 100 of them in there and they keep running at you, right? Like almost like a wave defense. Like it should be crazy if it's like sort of like, if that's the kind of vibe they're going for, but maybe they can't do that yet, right? But my point is that would be transformative content, right? Going into a cave and being like, oh my God, I'm being overwhelmed by these animals. Going to a cave and shooting 4 dogs that don't move in the head, which given that's definitely a bug. But even if they did move, it just wouldn't be that interesting. So on the other hand, the distribution center FPS missions feel awesome. Truly milsim if you do get a chance to play them.
What makes
they're
them
engaging
feel milsim?
Just the layout of the maps. You know, the layout of the maps, the fact that enemies are shooting you from multiple different like vantage points and directions, and you have to use cover in a really proper way and reload behind cover, and you have to like strategically move from one place to the other. And if you don't, if you're standing out in the open, then you're going to get thrashed. And so those missions feel really genuinely complete and solid, right? There's not like a lot of content connecting to them outside of the mission, right? It's just show up to the place,
cargo,
kill,
right?
leave. Totally.
Everything needs that extra bit that just isn't there yet.
Right. And so it's like, those are amazing. In my opinion, those are like an 8 for Star Citizen. They're like an 8 out of 10. They're really fun. I really enjoyed them. I had to get people in there with me.
For Star Citizen, they're an 8 out of 10.
Well, I just, you know, it's like I hold Star Citizen to a different standard, you know, to be honest. Yeah, you have to, right? And something that I've there's so much to talk about with this patch, but something I've talked about is that I'm really coming to grips with the fact that CIG is building the most complicated video game ever, right? And that's a good thing and a bad thing. I'm not complimenting them. I'm not, you know, being negative on them. It's a good and a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I don't envy them for doing this, but it's like with master modes, with armor, with engineering, with all these gameplay systems, it's like, I don't envy them for trying to connect all this stuff and build it all together. I hope they can do it. But I'm going to give feedback as properly as I can. Right. So, I think that if the servers were working perfectly, that I would give the mission like a regular game, probably like a 7 out of 10, you know? If they were working perfectly, if everything was working as intended. So I was having fun with them. Distribution centers, I feel like, are the content we've already got. It's not new content as far as I can tell so far, but it's just in a much more interesting way. It's a much more dynamic environment, and they feel really good.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that I've noticed from some of the devs in chat sometimes that are involved in either the missions or AI or things like that, they have said the same thing, every single one of them. And when like your dogs aren't moving, when the missions don't feel great, spawning issues, they keep saying, man, we really need server meshing. So like I stopped caring about 323 and I started caring about 323 getting out of the way so we can get at least out of the PTU so we could start getting the test preview channels again for server meshing tests, because that server meshing test was really cool. It had its issues, but it showed some promise, and I want to see what they did to resolve those issues and what it looks like since then, if they were doing any work on it at all, you know?
Yeah. I love the server meshing test. I thought I thought really cool. So
and yeah, it's just a matter of did it improve? And did it improve in the way that would improve our experiences in the PU? Because it was very much its own little thing, right? It wasn't super integrated into Star Citizen yet, was the feeling that I had when I did it. But since we haven't talked, like, what was the feeling that you had?
I was just glad that it worked, man. Like,
True,
I know
yeah.
it wasn't working perfectly, but like, I mean, it's like, dude, I got emotional a little bit whenever I like crossed that first border. I was just like, dude, like this is something that we weren't sure that CIG could do for a long time. And CIG didn't really know either.
Yeah.
They didn't know. Like I was just like kind of just blown away by the fact that they actually got it to work and that it feels seamless. Like that was the most impressive part to me, that it felt genuinely seamless aside from the QT bug. Because whenever you get to the server border, I don't know if you ever tried to do that, but you can find some of them at like sell-in or whatever. And when you cross that, it's seamless. I was shooting one of my viewers across like the boundary line. He was taking damage, no problem. We were able to shoot the engine of a cutter off with our custodian,
awesome.
no problem. Yeah, like across the server border.
Yeah.
And
See,
so
I had the opposite
that was
experience
really
because I had the spinning problem where like everything was going with the rotation of the planets or whatever, because you had to go to the pole in order to get the experience that you had, right? Or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
I was just bugged.
Wait, what is this clip that's playing?
I'm just playing a random like your stream going to the distribution
VOD.
center.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Because then maybe we would have seen the clips because it
says
narcotics location.
I cannot wait. This is a great clip.
Should I go forward a little bit?
Something incredible is about to happen in about 30 seconds.
Oh, sick. Okay.
So literally, I am pushing into the distribution center right here, and I decide that I want to end up flying. Well, I'll just let it play, but maybe skip forward. Like, yeah. So essentially, it's we're going up into the distribution center, testing this for really the first time since I hadn't got the servers to work before, and I decide.
I might have to push forward.
Yeah, it might be here in about like a minute or two. If you keep going forward, I can tell you when it is. It's when I turn around and start going back towards the Gladius.
Oh, okay. Now?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm hearing, at this point, you guys can't hear it on the VOD, can you?
No.
Is there any audio? So I start hearing shooting, and I get really confused. Hold on. I'm going to be enamored by this clip because this is the first time I'm watching this since it's happened. Yeah, but right now I'm freaking out on stream. There's NPCs who have like basically found my ship and are trying to destroy it. And I'm assuming this is a bug. I don't know how they got there, but it's almost like an enemy patrol. And so I had to go down there and take care of them, but they messed my ship up. Like it was unflyable.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Isn't that insane?
Okay. Yeah. Berks reacting to Berks, yes. But yeah, that's actually super weird. Like, where did they even come from?
Yeah, insane.
Okay. That's
So I
pretty
ended up,
wild.
and they reacted really fast here. See, that guy almost killed me.
Yeah.
And so they were behaving pretty well here. This
Nice.
was I got some really interesting distribution center gameplay yesterday. So I got really lucky and found a good server.
I gotta say, you have a knack for me, Berks is one of the most patient creators when it comes to this stuff, because he has a knack for like getting experiences that I never have, because I don't have the patience for it. I always have envy that level of patience that you have. And like he just finds a way. Like, that has always been how I looked at you, is like you find a way to make awesome content out of seemingly nowhere in a lot of cases, right? Like, how does something like this happen? It's crazy. But
I don't know. Yeah.
Where I kind of want to go next is sort of, I think, where I would call you definitely an expert on this for sure. And I've already done a podcast once with Virgil, and the last time Croncy couldn't be here, actually, with Virgil and Avenger, and talking about master modes. I don't want to harp on it too much.
Totally.
But
I won't.
Yeah, I do think having more people, because this is, if there is one feature that is coming in that is the most like, it's going to touch everybody. Everyone's going to experience it. Everyone's going to feel it. It's master modes, right? And people are freaking out in my comments, on Spectrum, everywhere about this thing. And some creators are not happy, and some creators are kind of fine with it. You seem to be one of the creators that are pretty cool with it. So, like, what's your general feelings about it? And then maybe we can go into some deeper stuff that you feel like is important. Just
I'll be completely candid, and I'll say this is genuinely one of the weirdest feelings for me, because typically I'm the person who's like giving CIG a hard time for these changes. Yeah. And so it's very strange being on the other side of this. But I want to say something. I think the majority of people, the majority of the comments that we're getting for people who are hating on master modes, it's the minority. Most people are loving master modes. It's true.
They're just making threads like these. They're typing a lot.
Yeah, it's true. Most people are liking master modes. It's just the truth. I hate to tell the people who don't like master modes, but it's true. Most people are liking it. Most people think it's good. There are quirks with it, sure, but most people are liking it. Like, the majority. It's far from
perfect, right?
It's far from perfect, but here's the major issues with it. The keybinds, the settings. Why are we taking steps backwards in terms of setting keybinds?
Yeah.
For things that should just be on-offs in the game settings. Please, CIG, please. Do not do this to me.
What's the one that's driving you mad? Which one?
G-Safe off, you have to turn on every time your ship explodes. If you're like racing an AC, or if you are, doing a like arena commander, or if you're just getting back into your ship in the PU, you got to turn it off every single time. It used to just be an on-off switch. And then also on top of that, the landing gear thing, like being able to move faster with your landing gear deployed. Again, should just be an on-off thing. What?
I kind of like it. And I've been using it.
It's fine if you like it. That's not my complaint. My complaint isn't it's good or not. I said it'd be good for newbies too, right?
Oh, I thought it was a menu option that you could just turn off.
You cannot. You have to keybind it. And this is my problem.
Okay.
There's a ton of flight settings that are keybinds now that should not be keybinds. They should just be on-offs. And I don't know if that's a problem for CIG if they can't do that. But like, please.
Yeah.
Quality of life on that stuff.
Yeah,
so
I'm
I think
totally
that's
for if it's a setting then that you could just turn off and on. It's absolutely, like, I get why you wouldn't like people, why they wouldn't like it. I just use it. I have like you have been amazing at landings. I think that's one of my favorite things to do when watching your streams. I never have been. Okay, so I will go in and then I'll press the landing gear down, and it slows me down, and I'm good, right?
Yeah,
so that's kind of why I like it. I also like the idea of, like, you ever watch Star Wars? Ships come down, their landing gear does not come down until they're right about to hit the ground.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
So I've kind of been doing that too,
Yeah,
so it's a little more like, that's why I like it. It's like for immersion or whatever. So something stupid. But I will say that I have not participated in combat very much. I have not cared to fly very much. I do have some feelings about the Mole and the Prospector. I got some strong feelings about the mole. Outside of that, I don't have much to say really, and
Prospector got buffed, right?
I feel like the prospector feels pretty much the same. It might be
That's
buffed
good.
as far as the numbers like that people are seeing, but it felt the same to me when flying
It
and
felt
looking for
really
rocks.
bad at first. The prospector felt really bad. When I flew it
Hmm.
about a week ago, it was terrible.
Yeah.
And so it seems like CIG's made an adjustment since then. That's great. And so here's where I'm going to say that I feel like the majority of the issues with master modes is it's not the flight model. People don't have an issue with the flight model. They have an
Okay.
issue with the balance of the ships, and they just don't realize it because they're hopping into their favorite ship, and CIG just hasn't got around to balancing that ship yet. Now, should CIG be releasing this flight model before every ship is balanced? No. But are they going to? Yes, because that's just CIG. They're pushing it out faster than it should.
Yep.
There are lots of ships that need love bad. And one of the things that really needs love is racing. Dude, the racers are valid. The racing is way less fun. 100%.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to tuning, genuinely. I think it comes down to tuning, not the flight model. It comes genuinely down to tuning because I took the Gladius out to do some of the same races that I was doing with the racing ships, and the Gladius is way more fun to race with.
Oh shit!
And why?
Really?
Yes, and
Okay.
why is the Gladius? And it's not perfect. Some racers, I think that the racers should be a little faster, but they should maybe be in like a nav mode where they can't use their weapons to achieve that speed, or maybe it'd be okay if some ships like the Fury LX had a higher SCM because it doesn't have weapons, right? It's a racer. It's supposed to be this alien crazy technical ship. So why can't that have a little bit of a higher SCM?
Yeah.
I do think overall I wouldn't be mad if they raised like base SCM on ships small Vanguard or smaller to like 325. I feel like that seems like the right move. I could be wrong there. Like I wouldn't mind a base SCM raise. But the problem is, and the reason why I'm loving Master Mode so much is because it is impossible to have fun combat at high speeds over 1,000 meters a second in 322. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
The hit reg doesn't work.
We have to. We cannot go back
Yeah.
to the way it was. We cannot do
We
that.
can't.
Like,
We can't.
Nobody played it. A very select few of people enjoyed it, and it was not. It is not the direction a game that wants people to play it goes.
Yeah.
It can't
So-
be that way.
Yeah, exactly. And so the people who are going to like master modes the most, honestly, are people who haven't played Star Citizen yet, to be honest, because they have no reference.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you they're going to like this way more than the current flight model, right? And something that people need to understand is that high-speed combat was never intended, ever. High-speed combat was not intended. It was supposed to be a stepping stone to navigation, right? And so the reason why, and they've talked about this before in like ISCs and like Star Citizen Lives, like Yogi has talked about in the past, like we're trying to slow people down. We want people at SCM. We're trying to slow people down for years and years and years.
You guys for this for years.
Yes. And so I think it's crazy that people are shocked Pikachu face when they finally are able to do it. And so don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. I would love if that in mirror builds, 1v1s, if they can work on it to make there's a little bit more combat geometry. That's people's main problem is it feels like there's not geometry in like a 1v1 Gladius, a 1v1 Arrow, or even like 1v1 Light Fighters sometimes. It's hard to push around people. It's hard to like outturn people. It's hard to avoid the staring at each other. But the thing is that while I want them to make 1v1s better, Star Citizen is not a 1v1 video game. It never was. It never will be. It wasn't supposed to be. Yes, 1v1s happen in Star Citizen, but if we want this game to be the game that we've always dreamed of with fleet combat and multi-crew, we have to start pushing people to say the strongest thing in the game is getting together with your friends and having fun in one ship, right? I'm doing the engineering. You're doing the co-pilot. I'm doing the flying. This guy's on turrets.
Or in small ship groups.
Yeah, no. Or yeah, maybe small ship groups as well, for sure.
Because I can't see a place where the Gladius doesn't have just the way that came off is like the Gladius has no role. Like doesn't belong in the game. I don't think you believe that, right?
Wait, say that last line again. I was reading a comment.
It's all good. The way you worded that to me was like that dogfighters have no place in the game. Everybody should just get in big ships
No.
and fight each other. Yeah, I
No,
don't think that's what you mean.
no, not at all.
Okay.
Because in big fleet combat, light fighters should be the ones, and I did this. I was able to you can easily take down a F8 Lightning with a Gladius now. And the reason being is because they cut the turn rate. And so light fighters are doing their job.
Dude,
and they're
the F8
being
feels
able to
sluggish. And it feels right, but it feels kind of right for what it is.
Maybe it needs a little bit of tuning, but
Yeah.
the thing is that light fighters should be doing their job of they are heavy fighters, and I would say that transition to bigger ships like between Connie and Vanguard, that they're going to be their worst nightmare, right? Is making their life awful and not awful, but you know what I mean? Like they're the ones who are putting pressure on them in combat. Right, that's where light fighters really need to excel. Is they're like the aces who don't get hit, and they're the ones who are pushing combat forward because they're the ones who are putting pressure on the heavy fighters and on like the Eclipses and the Tallies and stuff like that, right? And of course, there's other ships too who can do that, but that's the place that I want light fighters to be. I don't think that CIG envisioned in their mind you flying around the Gladius between Stanton and Pyro and Terra. Like they want you to hop in a bigger ship for that stuff.
Yeah, get on an Idris and jump with them or something like that. I want to ask you something else that I've seen a lot of people saying, Avenger included when he was on the show. The fact that the flight model isn't bringing people together because of the way the guns are working. I've seen them do quite a bit of changes more recently. What's your experience been with that, and how do you feel about those comments and so on and so forth?
People aren't getting pushed together because of the way that guns are working.
Because you could hit from further
Precision
away.
Mode. Precision mode.
Not necessarily precision mode, just the
Okay.
fact that guns have what is it? I guess they fire faster and they go straighter. So when you hit, like, you can start shooting at 2K instead of 500 meters now. So people start firing earlier. I think is sort of where they're going with that.
So as far as I know, Yogi said he's working on a fix for this.
Okay.
They're trying to adjust it. I don't know how they would fix that. Is it an issue? Yes, but it also exists in 322. And that's what I'm saying is a majority of the issues that people are bringing up inside of 323 also exist in 322, the flight model. That is. They're just a little bit different. You can kite and shoot people from, X distance in 322 as well. Does it take skill? Absolutely. Does it take skill in master modes too? I mean, yeah, it depends on the fight you're going. I mean, if someone's coming at you in a fully crewed Connie and you're trying to shoot them from 2 kilometers away in your Gladius, I mean, I have to imagine that fight's going to go sour for you at some point. I haven't found in any of the fights that I've got in multi-crew ships so far, light fighters are just easily able to dominate Connie-sized ships. That hasn't been my experience yet. In fact, it's been quite the opposite when people are in turrets in my ship. Yep. Are there going to be exceptions for like ace pilots? Absolutely. But genuinely, it's like there has to be 2 types of conversations that we're having here, guys. The people who are in the 99% bracket and people who are in the 1% bracket. And listen, it's everyone's game, but it's like if the experience is good for 99% of the people and bad for 1%, it's like that's a pretty good job from CIG. You know? Pretty great job from them.
Yeah, and again, I think that there's something that I'm curious about what you think about that just happened in the last like couple. Have you been able to play like the last couple days, like the Thursday or Friday patch? I can't remember which one it was.
I have played, but what's the thing that you're trying to bring up?
The swapping from nav to SCM instantly.
Yeah, I think that should maybe happen for like light fighters, or like smaller fighters should get a quicker, maybe not as quick as it is now, quicker nav to SCM mode. But I think the bigger your ship is, the longer it should take probably. Like a Javelin shouldn't be able to switch from SCM to nav in 2 seconds, right? It should take a second.
When going from SCM to nav, it takes time. So you can. Okay, the example that comes up in my head that I'm curious.
Sorry.
Is that you're in nav, you're running. During that time, you're gaining your shields back while running. You come back to the fight, hit B, and you're instantly in SCM mode, full shields, and are able to fire right away.
Yeah, it sounds like it can be an issue for sure. I just I haven't honestly got a chance to dive into a lot of like fleet combat since, and that's where that would be the biggest issue, right? It's like I would imagine battle royale in AC, and that's probably where that's the most toxic, to be honest. But again, I don't like that because it sounds like 322, right?
Hmm.
So it's like it's a 322 issue
Yeah.
as well. Like people can just run away, get their shields back, come back, right?
It
And
makes it
so
seem like it's gonna be a jousty situation. That I'm seeing people type that in chat.
yeah, I think jousting is the wrong word. I think
Okay.
it's just like people disengaging, running away, right?
Yeah.
Because jousting would mean like you fly past them and then fly past them again and then fly past them again
Okay.
and then fly past them again, right?
So it makes disengaging even stronger than it already is technically.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gonna
I
be an
mean,
annoying,
but
boring fights. Maybe I guess are what people are concerned about.
yeah, absolutely. And so I think some of the concerns I would love to address is like people are worried about like being vulnerable in nav mode, um, too, in master
Yep.
modes. And that hasn't been the case in any of my testing. I've tried to get killed in nav mode. And the only way it seems like it can happen is if people can missile spam you, they can try to shoot you. As long as you're not completely caught off guard, you're going to live because you're nav mode and they're not. The only difference is if they have a mantis. But again, in 322, if they have a mantis, you are also screwed.
Yeah, you are also very screwed.
The only difference is in 323, that mantis has to stay in SCM to snare you. And so they're actually extremely killable. You just need some people on your side. So you need a turret gunner or you need, security or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's much, much more doable.
Because you
It's
can
much,
actually hit
much
now.
more doable.
Like in the
Yeah.
previous patches with the Mantis, they were going 1100 meters per second. You were missing every shot. I played. I was doing some Mantis testing with Hannah not too long ago, like maybe a week ago, and I was just mouse and keyboard, which I'm way less accurate, not as good with, and all those things. And I was able to kill her. I wouldn't say easily, but for me, given the situation, way easier than I expected it to be. And then she moved to an Antares. That was a different story. The Antares might be pretty sweaty when it comes to that stuff, but we'll see. I don't know if they made any changes for it. Obviously, you need that second person in the back, of course, but
I've been hearing really good things about the Antares. I have to imagine that even like so the Antares is going to be good for like the QED. The blue I think has 4K now on its range, and then what is the Mantis? I think Mantis is like 6K, which is crazy.
I don't know, but the one thing I'm confused about is doesn't everybody? I've always thought you use the bubble, the snare. What's the one that you take people out of quantum?
So yes, there's the like the snare, and then there's the like the tackler, the dampener, right? The dampener's 2K, the snare is 20K. Now, a lot of people have there's mixed opinions on this, but the snare probably shouldn't do dampening, right? It shouldn't like you catch people in a 20-kilometer cone. That doesn't mean they should be snared in a 20-kilometer cone, but this is changing, so it doesn't matter. Right, it's changing to 6K, but the dampener and snare should be work a little bit differently, and maybe even serve different purposes.
Yep.
Like maybe
I hope
you
they
need
spend
someone
a lot of time with it, make it cool.
Yeah. And there's like I was talking to a guy from RAM the other day. His name's Tumblr, and he's very invested in the balance of the Mantis. And his suggestion was that they do some sort of skill check to make it where you're like more like jamming people, like with quantum jamming, and you have to like sort of like hold them and like target them instead of just like having this like invisible bubble that like covers an area, which I think sounds more skillful for sure. But I just don't know how that affects balance. Why?
Because he's been in every channel that I've seen on Twitch.
Sure,
like
yeah.
He's very invested.
Yeah, he's extremely invested, and he definitely understands that he's trying to get as many eyes on the subject as possible, right?
Yeah. Oh, let's talk about that a little bit. And that's where I think there's some like actual crazy behavior going on here with some of the feedback stuff. I'm a streamer. You're a streamer. We both make YouTube videos. And people, a lot of times, will watch content rather than playing the game. And through us, forming opinions. So the other day, you know me, I'm terrible at FPS games. Absolutely horrendous. Almost equally impactful are as Master Modes is to Ship Flight are the FPS changes coming to Star Citizen for FPS stuff. Crazy impactful, right?
Yep.
I'm playing Gun Rush. I'm playing whatever modes with people. We're having a good time, but I'm terrible. And I start noticing people in my chat going, "This looks horrible. That's so bad." And I'm thinking to myself, it doesn't feel bad to me though. So
Dude.
why are they saying this? And I come to the realization that I'm so bad and I'm doing horrible, so therefore they think it is. Like the impact that we have when we say things, when we show things, is like way bigger than some of us may think it is sometimes, right? And that moment was like, holy shit for me.
And I feel bad because here's the deal is that like people like Avenger get way too much of like a bad rap because people will be like, oh, well, Avenger said this.
Yep.
And it was like 2 months ago that he said it and he has a different opinion now.
Berks, the clip that we brought up of you at the distribution center, somebody from chat was like, Mike said this in your chat. I saw it. It happens all the time. It happens all the time.
Right. And so it's like the important thing is that, you know, we're humans, things change. And so it's like I am just want to make sure people aren't working on outdated opinions. Right.
Yeah.
And so I usually, when people bring that stuff up, I like to ask questions and be like, okay, when was that? Like, who were they fighting? What was it? This, blah, blah, blah. But here's the deal with the FPS stuff. I love it. I think they've done an amazing job. I think it's incredible, actually.
Yeah.
My one complaint is probably the sniper glint, but I actually think the sniper glint's fine. Here's my complaint about it. If they can come up with a more complex solution in the future, like, hey, we're going to remove the glint, but we're going to add scanning so that we want you to FPS scan these other players who are on the ground. Great. Awesome. Same solution, different avenue, right? So I think that it's like, as long as there is, I guess, like CIG saying that, hey, in the future, when we do add FPS scanning, like things can change and they could change, right? And then they're saying that they're going to fix the whole glint at night and the goofiness with that. But aside from that, right? Aside from the sniper glint, let's just talk about the general feel of the weapons, of the new iron sights.
Bro, I can cancel a reload.
Yeah, like, you can cancel a reload, the ammo pulling, the fact that it's like all the weapons feel like unique and interesting. Like not a single weapon I've picked up so far has felt bad. Every single one of them has felt fun and cool. Are they like
shotguns
perfect? Is
little,
like you don't like shotguns?
I think they're a little OP.
Oh, they're OP. I was gonna say I love the shotguns, but I haven't been using them in PvP. Like I've been doing all this stuff in PvE.
Yeah, I've been using them in PvP because I've been doing a lot of like I haven't been using them. I've had them getting used on me more than anything, and it's like, well, somebody's in chat saying they're not OP anymore. I don't know when they changed it, but like. We'll get to my engineering experiences. I definitely want to show and talk about that with the audience, and if you haven't seen it, talk about it with you quite a bit. There's a clip where Hannah just absolutely dumpsters somebody from like way too far away, one shot with a sniper, or one shot with a shotgun, and it was just like
there's always going to be there's always going to be weapons that are a little too like, for example, in 322 P6LR, way too strong. Right.
Yep.
And
right
like a lot
now.
of people are like, well, it's a 50 cal. Yeah, I get that, guys. But that doesn't mean the question is
it had no kick. It had no bullet spread.
No kick.
There was like a billion well, it had a lot of bullet spread.
Right. It's like, should a DMR 50 cal weapon that can one tap people even exist in Star Citizen? You know, like does that, like the grenade launcher, for example. These are fun weapons when you're using them against NPCs, but when they get used on you, it's a lot different story.
These are the questions that they're trying to figure out now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like kind of the point of everything here is they're trying to figure it out and we're yelling at them for doing it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. I want to say, like, I genuinely think 323 is like a fantastic, all the devs who have worked on 323 should be proud. You know, I think that this is going to be the most transformative patch that we've ever gotten. And it's not going to be the Jesus patch, but it will be the most transformative patch we've ever gotten. And I think that it's finally a patch that as long as service stability is good, I can finally tell new players and people who don't play Star Citizen, yes, dude, come play. Please come play. Like it's actually manageable now. Like you can actually have fun and like navigate around without wanting to, take a long walk off a short cliff. It's like the game is feeling like it's actually from 2024 now and not from 2016. And so
my chat's obviously taking that comment and freaking out a little bit by it. So let me stop you there. And I think I understand what you're saying, but let me know if I'm wrong on this.
Okay.
It is transformational, or it's so big because, and you can invite new players to play because the new player is able to experience what we already know through this.
Yeah.
And what we already know is the potential that the game has. That doesn't mean that new players can come to the game and have the best game experience of all time, but they should be able to see it without having to fight so much. Like, we already know all the workarounds. They don't. You got to remember that stuff.
Totally. And is there going to be new bugs?
Workarounds, right?
100%. There's going to be new bugs, but I just don't feel like the game is in such a degraded spot anymore. Like, I guess just UI and navigation and just general game sense wise, it doesn't feel so degraded anymore in 3.23. Is the server performance good? No. Is the content good? Let's be honest, guys. The content's pretty much exactly the same in 3.23. But the locations are more interesting. The content you're doing at the locations is the same, but because the locations are more dynamic, like I think the distribution centers are a big win. Like I was skeptical about how they were going to make these missions better, but they do. They make a lot of these missions that already exist better. And I think that's a huge win. And I already see a lot of opportunity for like, oh, there's this cargo center in the distribution center and they just got a shipment of, diamond laminate. And we're going to go bust in there and steal that, and you have a raid opportunity in your illegal contracts. Like stuff like that would be incredible. That would be transformative content wise, right?
Yeah.
We don't have that in 3.23 yet. Is that stuff coming? Hopefully it's coming.
It should be coming in 12 months or so from October 2023.
Yeah.
12 months or so.
Right. And so it's like the UE is on their way because like they hear you bust into the cache and like raids, right, is essentially what I'm asking for.
Yeah.
And I think that it's cool because again, it's like in my mind, it's like you connect that content, you're getting a resource and you're connecting the mission to another piece of content, which is like base building or ship building or component building or, some sort of crafting, or you're selling it on the, a player market deal or whatever, right? What my point is missions that create more content once the mission is done. Like that should be CIG's focus. And right now that doesn't exist. And so not in a meaningful way, at least. So I would like to see more of that moving forward, but the environments that CIG has set up are incredible. And now we just need the content to match that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think not just the environments, but the user experience is a little bit better and will get better over time, things like that, right? I will continue to harp on this and I won't let it go is I'm a little bummed out at the fact that it's unfortunate that this is all being kind of, I think, pushed and rushed a little bit more than it maybe should. And we're getting away from the letter from the chairman experiences that like, hey, we want the live experience to be good. I don't think this live experience is going to be great in the .0, but maybe
I hope so.
The .1 it gets a little better, .2 it gets a little better, whatever. That's my fear of inviting players to come play the game is I'm a little worried. Like you obviously had the stability caveat on there.
I would never, do what I said, invite new players and say it's the patch you can play without testing it first, guys. Yeah. Like if 3.23 doesn't launch well, of course I'm not going to be like, well, guys, I said you could come play it, so I'm sticking to my guns. Code. No, of course not. Of course I'm not doing that. I'm just saying I'm hoping that this is the turning point for that is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
100%. It could be. That's what I said. It could be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Now
it all depends on the stability.
Now, one thing that I think that we should touch on for a little while before we get to calls is this escape from Tarkov thing. I think is really not a unique situation for games. I think it's been a
Okay.
common thing that's been going on for a while. I think it is pretty crazy. I heard that they walked back everything this morning, so it's a little bit less of an issue and topical situation. But we've had little conversations
No,
behind the scenes as well.
it's a great thing to talk about. I want to say this
I think
is
you can
that
relate it to Star
this
Citizen so much.
absolutely, but something that I think the Escape from Tarkov community just proved is that if the community bands together and puts their foot down on something important, the devs will eventually cave, you know? And I think that's something that us as Star Citizen users also need to, realize.
But they have to be right. Because
they got to be right.
The community in a lot of ways did band together on like master modes things. They brigaded
But the thing is again, it's
threads
not
and
the
shit.
majority. It's not the majority. It's not the majority. It's the loud minority. Like again, I think people who don't like master modes are valid, and I really hope that CIG continues to work on it so everyone likes it. Like that would be my hope, is that everyone likes it. But it's the loud minority is the truth.
All right, so some people in chat are asking what happened. So there's some people that don't know. I will take it a little bit, but jump in if I'm, because obviously you know a lot more. There's a $250 package now for Escape from Tarkov. They removed.
Well, let's back up a little bit.
Yeah,
let's back up a little bit.
Yeah, please, you go for it. Then you give it. You give it a go.
So
you got
if
way
you were
more
gonna
on
go,
this than I do.
no, totally. So if you were gonna go buy Escape from Tarkov today, there's a couple of different packages, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, guys. It's a $60 or $150, and that was it. So you have the $60 one, which is standard, and you have $150, which is Edge of Darkness. Edge of Darkness is like the premium, juicy version of the game. You get extra stash space, which people considered a little bit pay to win back in the day.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
you get a little bit of extra gear, and there's like bonuses and stuff with it. And they said you will always get the DLC upcoming in future subsequent patches. When we release new content, you get access to it for free. That's part of this deal, right? And so essentially what happens is they release a brand new version of the game recently. And something that people don't know is that when Arena released, they were also trying to claim that that wasn't DLC and that Edge of Darkness shouldn't get it. And the community was like, hey, that's not true. And they eventually were like, okay, yeah, we're going to give it to you guys.
So these guys have no clue what DLC is.
No.
I think they think it's like a new
here's the deal.
Expansion
I think that,
or something.
I think
like
Arena
DLC to them.
I think Arena is less DLC than this new thing is.
Yeah,
because
agreed.
Arena in my mind is a different game. I almost think that Edge of Darkness shouldn't have got Arena. Like, I know people are going to be mad at me for saying that, but it feels less connected to Tarkov.
Fair.
Here's the difference with the new one. So a new version comes out. They said, hey, we're going to give you for $250 a PvE mode, which was highly anticipated for Tarkov. People wanted that. You can do all the questing and stuff, all PvE. Along with that, we're going to give you like max scav rep. So like scavs, enemies will not shoot at you if you are over 60 meters away, which is, if you have played Tarkov, that's a huge deal. Enemies don't shoot at you if you're over 60 meters away.
When I saw that, that was crazy to me.
Yeah. So not only that, but also, and this is in PvP mode, the PvP mode, they won't shoot at you for 60 meters away. And then also on top of that, they get this little raid signal that allows you to drop it on the ground, and you can call your friends in if you're in trouble in a PvP raid. So this has never been done before. Hardcore. Once you're dead, you're dead. You can maybe scav in, but it was rare. The truth of the matter is if you died, your buddy had to get your stuff, or you were just boned. They had to win the fight for you. So it's a 2v2, and then you die. Now it's a 2v1, and they have to clutch up, or it's game over. That's not the case anymore. Now you just throw your beacon, and I think they said up to 5 people can join you. 5. 5 people can join you. And then imagine if every single person
that sort of makes sense to me, just a little bit. Sort of.
Okay.
Not in a pay-to-win scenario, but to exist in the game in some way, shape, or form.
As a rare loot, maybe.
Yeah, like to be able to call in a, like, dude, I am pinned down.
Yeah, as rare loot, that kind of sounds cool.
Super cooldown or some shit like that, right? But, like, because that does happen in war.
But here's the problem.
But outside of that,
what if every single person on their squad has one of these beacons?
Yeah, then it's just keep going.
It's like, crazy. Is there a cooldown? Can they can only one person on the map use it at a time? Because that's kind of dumb, right? What if multiple people want to use it? They're on 2 different. What if they're literally on woods, which is a huge map, by the way, and they're on one side of woods and the other, and they're both pinned down and both need help, and they both throw their beacon at the same time? Do they not come in? Can multiple people throw it at the same time? Can you only do it per one raid party? Well, if that's the case, people are just going to solo queue, and then try to get in the same match as each other and then do exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So it's super pay to win. It shouldn't exist. It's super weird. And then also on top of that, they give you like a bunch of free like levels and stuff. Super weird. And then the kicker was that it was $250.
Yeah, which is not mind blowing to Star Citizen fans for
It's
things,
not.
but
But it was mind blowing to the
it's crazy.
Tarkov community.
Yeah.
So it's crazy that they were like, hey, for pay to win features in PvE, we're gonna make you pay $250. Now is $100 if you were Edge of Darkness, which like they were. It's so funny because they are, alluding that, hey, Edge of Darkness, you kind of deserve this, but we're not going to fully give it to you.
Yeah.
So as of today, it was terrible. Like they did so many crazy things. Like they retweeted Escape from Tarkov competitor, and they were like, because the Escape from Tarkov competitor was like, hey, if you need a new game to come to now that things are crazy with Tarkov, come play our game. And they retweeted and were like, in and out 20-minute adventure, blatant plagiarism.
Yep.
Like they invented the genre. They didn't invent the genre. Like there's been so many extraction shooters before Tarkov. Like what are they thinking? Like they did not invent this genre. They maybe nailed it. They did nail it. But the insecurities of your team do not equate to the validity of you owning the genre, right? So it's like, it's clear that the CEO is like on one. He's walked back everything pretty much today, except for some small stuff. They're claiming they're going to balance the PvP issues with the new items. EOD owners are getting it for free now. And I think that they're discounting it to like, I don't know how much. But yeah, it's way cheaper now. They fixed a lot of the issues. They basically walked it all back. And I think that just proves that, the community was right and they were right to stand by it.
Yeah. And one of the other things that I really tried to hammer home a point of is that, yes, as a community, you can get up and be like, hey, this is wrong. But one of the things that I saw a lot of Escape from Tarkov fans say, and I'm curious what you think about this. I know your brother plays it and Lola just fell. And your brother plays it and does, and you've played it a lot as well, is that, okay, I bought an Edge of Darkness package, right? I have Edge of Darkness. I bought it so long ago. And for someone like maybe yourself or your brother or anybody else who plays Escape from Tarkov regularly, is $100 invested 7 years ago enough for this company to like run their live service, keep developing the game, and make a profit as well, right? Because everybody has to understand that the company wants to make money. It's a business, right? So a lot of people say that it's a business and things like that. But I don't think they apply it in the right way.
But the funny thing is that the entire community is begging them to add microtransactions to the game.
That's the big issue with like the Tarkov thing. But I do think that a lot of people feel entitled for their Edge of Darkness package. And yes, for the right reasons, because of the wording and what it says. But I also think that people are like, I supported you all these years ago. I deserve. And you, in my mind, you don't. And you don't, but you do, but you don't. And the reason that you don't is because it's too expensive and your game's going to die if it's not supported by its community financially. And I look at it like Star Citizen is going down a very much similar slippery slope where they are giving benefits to people who are backing early. And eventually, if they want their game to ever fit the level of Escape from, like you said, Escape from Tarkov nailed it. What has Star Citizen nailed? Absolutely fucking nothing yet, to me, except for immersion, right? And
the environments immersion.
The environments they've nailed, and in my mind, honestly, they haven't nailed those either yet because I haven't had an experience at an environment that has blown my mind yet. Right?
Sure.
So I think that we're getting there, or whatever. But
the pledge store.
Yeah, they nailed the pledge store. That's short for sure. But for me, I think that we as gamers and them as developers need to find the middle ground. And I think developers are going way too far in one direction. I think players feel that their $40 purchase of a game 10 years ago grants them access to a live service game for 10 years. And it just can't.
I think it's a great point. And I think that what I would say is that I think that Tarkov and Star Citizen are in two completely different boats. In my mind, it's apples to oranges.
I'd have
Because
to disagree, but go ahead.
but it's like, but you're making it sound like people with $45 packages are begging for more content, but that's not the case. Typically, people are spending thousands of dollars in Star Citizen, so it's
That's
not
not what
like
I'm
the
saying. So maybe that's why we're
okay,
disagreeing. I think that they're not begging for more content. I think that all I'm saying
okay.
is that
So
a
the
live
old
service
stuff.
game cannot exist off of you just buying the package initially and playing it for 10 years.
But
Like, it's
why
just too
is it my
expensive.
job as the consumer to be concerned about that
It's
instead of the
not.
devs making good decisions to monetize their game
Exactly.
in interesting ways?
That's
Like
again,
I'll,
that's
I'll
not
give
what I'm
another
saying.
example.
That's not
Yeah,
what I'm
totally.
saying.
Like no, totally. I think that no, it's not what you're saying. But so the old stuff, right? Am I entitled to the old content that I paid for? Honestly, I agree. Some of it, no, right? Like, for example, the land claim stuff. Well, land claims actually might work out. But for a while, I was really skeptical on those. Like, should they exist? Like, should they walk those back? For a while, they were going to walk back the F7A upgrade thing, right? They said they were going to, and then they changed it with this new event. And a lot of people were happy about that, right? Is that kind of like where your head's at? Is like the old stuff they promised that
No,
people bought?
it's less about promises, and it's more about just the general idea of the current monetization systems of live service games are flawed from both
I
sides.
agree.
They're flawed from the consumer believing that buying in once is all you need to do in order to keep your game and have your game exist for this many years, and the studios trying to develop problems to monetize with solutions and things
Sure.
like that, right? There has
I
to be
don't
a
think
middle
that
ground.
totally. I don't think that CIG has any problems coming up with ideas for monetization.
No, but it's a lot of
But
shitty ideas
you're
and
right. You're right.
ideas
Like
that make the game
again,
worse than it could have been. Where Escape from
totally.
Tarkov started out by making a really fucking good game and then doing stupid shit later. Where it's kind of the other way around for us in Star Citizen. And I think this is something that we talked about off stream, and I feel like it's fine to bring up now. If gamers come and actually start playing Star Citizen and seeing some of the antics that we're dealing with at this moment, the Escape from Tarkov is going to look like child's play. This week's going to look like nothing. People are
Right.
going
And
to be like, "Are you kidding me? Is this real
yeah.
life?"
Yeah. And I think
With
that
some of this shit.
The F7, in my opinion, the Overdrive event was a taste of that for me.
Oh yeah,
Like that was my Tarkov EOD moment, honestly. Because it felt so, criminal, honestly. It felt so wrong. And I felt very genuinely the same as a lot of the EOD people whenever I heard about that. So I'm glad that they sort of walked it back. Is it perfect? Is the armor that we're getting in game perfect? No, but like, is the 7-day rental perfect? No, they should have given you the F7A for the whole patch, guys. They should have given you the rental for the whole patch.
yeah.
It's crazy that they're not. That being said, it's at least they're trying to make it better, and they should do better in the future. And I'll advocate for that. But I think that the main thing is, as long as they're giving us opportunities to both support them and also have in-game avenues and like in-game rewards and stuff, I think in my mind, I think that people are going to be happy and spend money,
Yeah.
especially if it's good monetization models. Like, for example, I've talked about this, apartments at Orison would
Yep.
be an amazing, and it's not pay to win. It's just cosmetic. And then you could literally sell everything inside there,
Did you
like
watch the ISC recently about the
pets.
hangars? They're gonna have like couches and shit.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
like
fuck,
that
dude.
stuff. That's what I said. I said, why
Monetize
are
that
we
shit.
monetizing? That's what I said. Yeah,
Yeah,
same thing.
monetize the shit out of that. Why would put it in game for free? No, like I'm sure you're feeling the same way if you're feeling that way. I want them to monetize anything but ships and armor and FPS weapons. Monetize it all. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what pretty much I want as well, is monetize the things that are not going to make me feel like they actually genuinely feel like they're going to make the experience more interesting, right? But also they're not going to shit on people who can't afford it, right? To call something a reward that you have to spend $160 for is just ridiculous, right? And that,
Yeah.
in my mind, that's why it's that is why is the same as like the Escape from Tarkov thing. So Yeah, I would love to see them. Like a lot of people were saying the same thing about the hideouts. You know, sell us like a pet in the hideout, in Tarkov. That is,
Yeah.
you know, sell us like different like armbands and you know shirts and cosmetics. And people are right. Yeah, they should have went that way.
I love
And
that
I
he
think
said
the thing
cats
is,
yes, dogs no as well. Like dogs not yet. It's like I wonder
oh
why
yeah,
cats
sure.
first, but maybe he's a
Oh,
cat guy.
is that what Nikita said?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't read the interview this morning.
Yeah. He was like, cats, yes, dogs coming later. It's just like, okay, interesting. It was like obviously like the least funny thing that came out of that interview, but sorry for anybody who's hearing my cat. She is very much telling me to go cuddle with her on the couch behind me. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I had on that stuff today. The only other thing that I would want to touch on briefly is, bro, I had the craziest experience in the engineering mode. This is something that
Okay.
I've been super bummed basically with the lack of the cargo updates. That's all I was looking forward to with 323. Everything else is kind of whatever to me. Obviously, master mode is a big deal. FPS stuff's a big deal. We spent an hour talking about it. But the mode that I was the thing that I was looking forward most to was cargo. The next thing that I was looking forward to most was engineering. I think it is the future of the game. You know,
Seems awesome.
More difficult to manage multi-crew ships, so on and so forth, right? And we've been testing it, and it hasn't been a good experience at all in general. And they've been gathering the feedback and iterating on it, patch after patch after patch after patch, and we got to an experience where we were disabling ships, and then it was like, oh, so what do we do now? And it was like, well, I guess we board. And the mode finishes when like based off of kills. So when we started realizing that we can board the ship and kill players, the mode went like crazy fun. So I highly suggest this when you stream is to just get a group together. It's 12 people. It's not that hard to get.
I didn't know that this mode was live yet, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro, yeah. The body falling down the stairs.
Exactly. And so like the ship is incredibly hard to push. I'm sure you're familiar with this. But it was really hard. It was really fun. So like this was like a decent, just a decent experience. Was like, okay, you know, you kill somebody, you get points, and then things keep going. And it felt like Star Citizen, not a single A2 exploded once during this experience, right? There were no explosions. Everything was about disabling and boarding. And it was just like, wow, it was awesome. Is it tuned well? No, not at all. Like there's so many problems with it. As you could see, that was about maybe 30 seconds to a minute, and you could see the A2 is spinning. It was instantly disabled. Like we were kind of figuring out where to shoot and things like that. It's disabling too quickly. But once it was disabled, the boarding experience was amazing. And it was just like, holy shit, I feel like I'm playing Star Citizen. And like, I'm sorry for the title of the video. It was a meme for people who don't understand. Asmongold, like every video game he reviews on his channel, that's the title of it, is this game changed my life. So I just memed the title, and people were getting mad in the comments. So some of you guys didn't understand that. It obviously didn't change my life, but it was pretty cool. So
yeah, it looks really cool. I didn't realize this mode was up yet, but I've tried the engineering. My thought is that engineering feels like it's going to be something that is not going to be fully in for a long time. Yep. At least on every ship. And I've said this again, this is the same issue with master modes, is when you have a system that has to touch every ship in the game, it's going to be a while. So are we going to have a demo in 323? Sure, but I don't expect this to be in live anytime soon.
Yeah,
like especially in like a lot of ships.
For sure. It's got to be a ways away. Even in this, you can't see the components on the C2 because the C2 doesn't have physicalized component, or the A2 doesn't have physicalized components because they're capital sized or whatever. You can't remove them or anything like that.
Right.
So even in precision mode, you can't see them, but you can target them. It's a weird thing. I wanted to pause it here because this was the moment that I was like, holy shit, is you got engineering coming into play, you have master modes coming into play, the new EVA coming into play, and the FPS weapons coming into play. Everything happened here. You could see there's a player, this is Hannah actually, a player in EVA Superman mode. There's somebody that's actually coming out of the elevator on the ship that you'll see as well that we end up engaging. It was just like, holy, this is the game, right? It was just so cool.
This is like what I'm saying is like it's starting to feel like Star Citizen, you know? Like that's what my comment earlier was about.
Yep.
Is that it feels like it's starting to feel like Star Citizen 323 is.
Yep. A lot of the things that we've imagined, I experienced, you know? And it was just so good.
Imagine if you could like, you know, have a fight between two multi-crew ships and one of their, you know, power plants gets shot out and you have to board the other ship and you have to like kill the other crew so that you can take their, you know, that's something that you can do now with this, right? Like that's something you can do.
Yeah, no, it's so cool, man. It was so cool. And I just feel like blessed and lucky that I had that experience because we tried it again and it wasn't as great of an experience. I guess people were starting to figure out I was getting dumpstered a little bit more in FPS, so it was like, damn, I died. But like overall, it was just awesome. And like I can't wait to see more of that mode. I'm probably going to be playing it mostly. And unfortunately, in PTU, like you go in there and you try to play it by yourself, nobody's playing it. Nobody knows that it is what it is, right? And like once it goes to a wider audience, I'm really hoping it's more like some of the other modes where you hop in and you're just playing with random people. Voice over IP kind of worked, but didn't. Like, so there's definitely
VoIP is been rough in 323, which sucks for me because I'm a big VoIP player. Like it's like it's most of my content, you know. I love VoIPing people. I love meeting random people in the game. I love playing Star Citizen like DayZ, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, VoIP has been killing me lately for sure.
Yeah. And what I will say though is what I'm noticing, and another example of like the impact that a creator has, this one's a positive one, is I was streaming this mode a lot, and there's been an issue with a lot of ships, where somebody gets in the co-pilot seat and the pilot can't use countermeasures anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Fixed the next day. We talked about it. Fixed the next day.
That's been broken for long,
years.
Too.
Fix the next day, bro. So things like these modes are doing exactly what they said they would do. Are doing exactly what they said. Like I'm not saying it's like it's me that fixed it. I'm saying it's more the mode that fixed it. Is that you have a dev that is highly focused on making the engineering experience as good as possible. So fixes are coming out bang, 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 way faster because nobody's going to listen to me say, hey, this is a problem. But one of the lead developers on a specific thing is going to go, yo, this has got to get fixed. Let's prioritize this. They're the ones who set the priorities, and the priorities are getting set, which is really cool. So my hope is that VoIP is so important for this mode that VoIP gets fixed as well. That's my hope. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know, here's the hope. Let's just get all of our fixes through the AC modes, you know?
Honestly, that's where most of them have come from. All the FPS experiences are through AC. All your master modes experiences through AC. We're not getting any fixes on, you know, it's way harder to get fixes for distribution centers, right? Than it is for these things. It's honestly.
Do you think that we're not going to get the bottom floor distribution centers in 323? I don't think we are.
I fell through I watched somebody else fall through the floor, and they're there.
Are they? Because I've fallen through the floor multiple times and haven't seen them.
Maybe
it's just one. Maybe it's just one distribution center has it.
In Evo, they were there. So what I'm guessing is the optimizations that have been done probably took them out.
Oh, understood.
Yeah.
See, I'm okay if they end up not making it in for this patch. That's fine with me. Like, especially if it's an optimization, if it's a playability thing, that's fine with me.
Yeah, and that's most likely what it is. But
yeah,
you wanna take some callers?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So it's pretty simple. We bring them in, and they chat about kind of whatever we discussed or whatever they want about for a few minutes. So let's see. We got Space Monkey Business first. What's up, Space?
Hey guys, what's up?
What's going on?
Yo, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm just watching your show and enjoying it a lot. So
yeah, thanks for hanging, man.
Appreciate it. What do you want to talk about?
Oh my god, I think you dived a bit away from the original topic, but maybe something to add to that, because
Please.
I'm normally not at a Spectrum, but I saw a post where also one guy just totally exaggerated. The patch is over now because what was it? Cargo is not in, all the cargo stuff. So
I mean, that's
there's
me. The patch is over for me.
yeah, but not in a way like, okay, it's over for me because this is important for me. It's more in a way of, oh my god, the patch is horrible for everybody because
Yeah,
the
no.
one thing I like is not in. And I was
Yeah.
like, calm down, dude, calm down. It's just like, and I really like the SAL about the cargos things because they communicated it pretty well, at least in my opinion. Because
Sure.
when Chad McKinney said, "Oh, I'm so sorry it is not in," I was also not heartbroken, but you could see he was really uncomfortable at the beginning. It was like, I really wished we could put that in, but it was so central towards the game that we could not risk it. So
Yeah.
it's not in BO, but we are really close. So
Yeah.
that's the communication I would like to see
Also,
from that.
chat, that is not my second account that he's talking about, okay? Calm down. Stop.
I don't know, Mike. I am a little suspicious. I'm not gonna lie.
Stop it.
I
That
think
wasn't me.
So, do you got a question here? I'm curious.
No, it's, but I think I can repeat the thing I said from like 3 weeks ago when I was the last on the show, where I have the feeling that the people who are playing or having fun with the game already are the ones who are invested the most at, rightfully so, and also the ones who are getting mad about things because they are playing the game regularly. Like for you, Berks, it's a huge patch because it's quality of life. It's your everyday's business, basically, that gets improved.
True.
But for people who, like me, who are more waiting on the later stuff like progression, crafting, base building, it's like, okay, it's another patch on the way. So I enjoy it, I play it a bit, and then it falls off, and then I play other games. But I'm pretty relaxed about it, so I'm not mad at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's because, like I said, the content's not there yet, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And again, I think you're right. We did kind of stray away just a tiny bit. My favorite thing about the whole 323 experience is that because they're adding gameplay features to the game, the community that just basically comes here for social stuff is losing their minds when things are getting like in game and added, and calling it arcadey and calling it all these things that are like. I mean, I think there was one arcadey thing added this like late this week for FPS. You get the hit marker sounds, and it's like doop 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 doop. It's like really kind of COD feeling, which is weird to me. But other than that would be my only gripe. That sounds.
Some people like it. Yeah,
it's a
some
satisfying
people like
sound.
I've turned it off.
Okay, but
yeah,
I don't like.
I've turned it off.
Yeah,
but. And I don't even know how I've turned it off. It just doesn't. The sound doesn't happen anymore. I broke or something. I was like messing with the settings because you know what I turned off was that maybe it turns off if you turn the hit markers off, actually, because that's what I did. I turned hit markers off. I prefer without hit markers. Some people love the hit markers.
I think they're advantageous.
You can turn. Yeah, it's like I think it's interesting that it's like a combat helmet thing. But you know what I would love to see in the future is like. Maybe I'm crazy here, but you know, anyone ever play Halo? Like you pop Cortana in the back of your head. Like I would love to see like chips you can pop into your helmet. That's like a scanning chip, a FPS like targeting chip where you have the
instead of being tied to the helmet, it's a choice.
Yeah, it's like a rare.
way better.
It's
idea.
like a rare. Yeah, and it could be loot, and it could be like something you craft or like find or buy.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe one is good for like FPS mining, and one is good for combat, and one is good for just like general navigating. I don't know, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that would be really interesting instead of just like tying it to certain helmets.
Yeah. Yeah. Space. I don't know. Because I definitely wanted to bring it back to that a little bit, because that was one thing that I really wanted to touch on today, was that people were like going crazy just because they were adding features to the game. And it was like, you're just not used to this. You've been enjoying the game for 5 years as a social thing. And now you feel like you have to engage in these things that you could still be social, man. It's no big deal.
I think that people are often exaggerate. I mean, maybe they are overly invested in the game, so emotional. It's like, Calm down, be relaxed. It's good for your heart, maybe it's good for your health. You live longer.
I'd be lying
It's just a game.
if I didn't say that I've definitely over exaggerated here and there, right? Of course I have.
I mean, we are just humans. I mean, it happens sometimes, but
Exactly.
but sometimes I have the feeling it's the standard mode for some people. But you don't really know the people from Spectrum, so it's like, yeah, maybe they had a bad day and then they write a Spectrum post and they let the anger out, and maybe on other days they're pretty relaxed. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Regarding the master modes, because I'm in wave 4, so I could not really experience the patch so far. But it would be more a question towards Berks. If you would agree somehow with A1, where he talked about the upping the SAM speed a bit to get more tactical depth into the fighting.
So I did mention this actually earlier in the podcast. Is I would be fine with them raising the base SCM to maybe like 325. Here's the problem: is that if you start raising the SCM too high, we're just at 322 again, right? And I think that well, at a certain point, right?
Yeah.
At a certain point, you start to get back to 322. So you got to be careful, because the deal is they could raise the speeds, the SCM speeds, and these issues that we're talking about still exist. Because I think a lot of the like issue with the 1v1s and stuff is like the way that the boost patterns are working in 323 and master modes, and the way that, you know, momentum and speed is working. And it's not an easy fix. I think that CIG is going to continue to work on it. But in the way that your momentum dies when you let go of your boost and stuff, right? Like maybe that kill, you know what, that's something I haven't thought about before, but maybe that's one of the solutions, is that slowdown you get between the boost and your SCM speed maybe needs to happen a lot slower.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
instead of happening instantaneously. It's
also
very drastic.
It's also not very realistic either, right? It's like
you're right.
Insane G's that you would be.
Yeah,
pulling.
you're right. You're definitely right. It's not realistic, but neither is 322 combat, right?
Yeah,
people like to say that master modes is arcadian, 322 is not arcadian, it's realistic. But guys, like, you ever watch The Expanse? That's what realistic Star Citizen combat would be like. Shooting missiles at people 2,000 kilometers away.
Yeah,
never seeing them on your HUD ever. And some people would love that, but it's not Star Citizen. You know? It's not Star Citizen.
But here's the beauty of the experimental modes and the arena commoning towards that. They can try it out. If the patch drops and master modes are in, they're on a new level, and then they can iterate it on the experimental mode and say, okay, we up the speed like 200, 100, and then let the people
let's test it. Yeah,
feel it. Yeah, let's try it out.
I would totally be on board with CIG messing around with master modes more experimentally on like raising SCM, especially again on ships Vanguard or smaller, right? Because that's where the majority of the issues are. But it's like, I think that a lot of the ships above that feel pretty good. Not all of them, right? Some of them still need balancing, but it's just going to take time. But yeah, I wouldn't be against them raising the SCM. I just think it needs to be done right.
Cool. Regards the F8, where it feels more sluggish now, I don't have it, but it feels to me they found like a role for it now, because it would be an anti-heavy fighter, because it has the guns to kill other fighters, but not the turn rate to kill small or medium fighters. So it sounds good for me what they did with that. I don't know how you think about it.
Yeah, well, it's like, I don't think the F8 is incapable of killing light fighters either, especially with an experienced pilot's hand. I think that it's all going to come down to positioning and what the setup of your squad is like. And I love that you have to start thinking about that now.
It's awesome.
Like, who else is in the fight? Because guess what? Whenever you get into 1v1 now and you end your 1v1, or you're in the middle of your 1v1, you're not 150 kilometers from where you started, because that's the reality of 322.
Yep.
Right? And the truth of the matter is I love 322 combat when people do it right. But nobody wants to fight properly. Yeah. Nobody wants to fight properly. Everyone wants to live, and I don't blame them for wanting to live.
Yeah. The game allows it, so they're going to do it.
Exactly, including myself sometimes, right? Yeah, of course, right? It's like nobody is sin-free here when it comes to, you know, flying in a certain way in master modes. But when you, or sorry, not in master modes in 322, but when you fly towards each other and fight quote unquote honorably in 322, it's beautiful. It's amazing. It's super fun. Just
Mm.
nobody does it. Nobody
Yeah.
does it.
But
So
can I jump in for a second?
sure.
Ares. I've seen a lot of people upset about the Ares. What are your thoughts on them? Specifically the ion and the charge mechanics.
Me?
But
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Dude,
either of you.
the charge mechanic is literally the sound and everything is from a video I posted on Twitter like literally a year ago when they first
Okay.
released the ion. It's
So
so
you
funny.
wanted this.
I wanted this, the
Yeah.
charge thing, but it feels like it should be doing a bit more damage.
Okay.
Like, in my opinion. I could be wrong. That's
Is it
my experience so far.
Is it still kind of crazy against Light Fighter, like killing it instantly? Are
I
the best
don't
pilots are going to be the only ones that are going
know.
to be able to do that? Things like that. Because I see somebody in chat, Ares is fine. It's not an anti-fighter. That's my feelings about it. Is like the whole
It's not an
charging
anti-fighter.
thing is you're going to be shooting.
Big
I don't know.
ships.
Yeah, Connie's.
So I
and-
fought a
and,
Connie with it. I fought a Connie with it, and it felt weak. And again,
Gotcha.
I could just be, I could just be like in a scenario where I'm feeling weak because it just I don't have enough time in the Ares yet.
Yeah.
But I could be misspeaking here. I haven't had a lot of time in the Ares, so I don't want to give it a definitive
Fair.
like
Okay.
statement on it. But the charge mechanic's really cool. It might need a little bit of a buff on its alpha damage. I'm not sure yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a question I could answer in maybe a week or two.
Cool.
Just from my understanding, how did they change it? You need to charge it now every time you shoot, or you can charge it as an option?
You can instantly shoot, but it does less damage.
Mm.
Okay. So I did not found any video about it, so I heard about it, but I don't know. And with the Inferno, I just read they upped the amount of bullets you have.
I think on
a bit,
all
but-
ballistics throughout this patch.
Yeah.
If I'm not
Well,
mistaken.
it made sense. I mean, my friend who only has like the standard package with the Avenger or whatever Titan, it was like flying it with it and shooting it. So I mean, 10 seconds of the ballistics and it was gone. I was like, what is this shit?
It never made
not
sense.
fun for him.
I think we've had tons of discussions around that, and one thing that we always said was like, just apply heat to it, and that happened in 323 as well.
Yeah. Something that I think that CIG is a little bit goofy for balancing the Ares around is not killing fighters in one shot. Like some people are saying in chat. Now, should it kill arrow in one shot? Maybe, maybe not. That's not what I'm saying. But this idea that something can't die in one shot just because it's, a light fighter, like if you're sitting still and you get hit by an Ares when it doesn't have if it's really hard to hit the shot, then yeah, maybe you do deserve to die. The same way if a size 9 hits you.
It's the P6LR issue. You have to make it so it is a situation where if it's on the player who gets killed's fault completely and 100%.
Sure.
And that's it, because that's kind of how it has to be.
And what I was about to say was the same as getting hit by a size 9 with an arrow. If you get hit with a size 9 by an arrow, you're an idiot, right? Like, or you weren't paying attention, right? In that case, you deserve to die. And the same with the Ares. If it's a similar situation, that's how I would say it'd be fine. As long as that's where CIG's head's at. But the whole idea just shouldn't one shot because, that doesn't make sense. That didn't make sense to me. No. But I think that when the Ares did come out originally, it was way too good.
Yeah,
you could 360 you could 360 no scope people with the Ares. It was ridiculous.
It was funny.
Yeah.
People were making compilations of just ship explosions, and I'm sure that was very satisfying, but it was never the role of the ship.
The only weapon who should one-shot you is maybe the Idris railgun, but that's it.
Yeah. But still, it should be a challenge to line that shot up, obviously, right?
Yeah, what about a volley?
It is for the pilot of the Idris.
What about a laser cannon volley from a Corsair? Like if you're sitting still.
Yeah.
You're talking about, 6 M whatever the size are, M7As and M6As wouldn't be able to take you down. You know what I mean?
Or the Javelin shots from the turrets were, I don't know, size 10, 12.
Right. Or if you get caught behind, a hurricane for like a millisecond, right? Like you're going to get crushed. And I think there are scenarios where it's okay for time to kill to be quick. For sure. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
One last topic before the next one can hop in. The outside rage stuff. I mean, I'm not so invested in the Tarkov setting, but I get the community that is mad or was mad about it. But I'm more concerned about other things. Like, for me, a very negative example is Star Wars Outlaws. I don't know if you
Sure.
saw that stuff,
Very familiar.
where they offered like the premium package for 180 or something. Like, what is
And
it?
it's
That's nuts.
it's day one DLC too. Day one
Yeah,
DLC on that package.
Yeah, but why having? And I mean, that's another story. But having a DLC on a single player game is like, why?
No, that's
Come
normal.
on.
That's super normal. to have
Yeah,
DLC
it's
on single player
normal
games.
now, but
No, because it's like, you know, adding to it and making the experience more enjoyable, and I think that's okay. But I think having it as a day one DLC to get you to buy another package is crazy, right? So it's just one of those things where it's like we are going in the wrong direction. Everybody is, and it's like we got to stop and
I
figure
wouldn't
it
say
out.
everybody, because you have, even if they're really rare, you have some examples where people do it right. Because the gap, let's say the gap from the from, I don't know, the normal version to more a premium version for the Star Wars Outlaws is like $40. What do you get for $40? Helldivers. What do
Yeah.
you get with Helldivers? Everything that can be right about a game.
Yeah.
You get a really reasonable price. You get a lot of fun. You get hours of fun. You have a really nice game. You have an in-game shop, DLCs, which are done right. Because, I mean,
I'm glad somebody
it's
brought
like,
up Helldivers.
yeah, I really like that. And I even cashed in like $10 to get to one DLC, because I didn't want to put the time in it. But I felt if they don't deserve it, who else should deserve that $10?
Sure. And that's sort of the examples that I was giving is like it should be kind of fine to give them a little more. It should be fine you shouldn't feel bad about, you know, like a lot of games shame people for paying for things because it doesn't make sense. It is pay to win. It's broken. It's like all these things that shouldn't be. And maybe the dev doesn't deserve it. And it's not the case for some games. And what I mean by everybody when I said that is there are too many, there are far too few exceptions to the rule. And the rule has become
I know.
so bad that something's got to change at some point. And I think hopefully people like Helldivers are showing that it can, right?
Yeah. Maybe it's like similar to the blockbuster Hollywood situation, where you're putting out blockbusters in the 300 millions, and then sometimes you get the small little really nice movies who prove that this is another way to do it, and to do it right, and enjoy that they are enjoyed more by the audience than those $300 million blockbusters, whatever.
Yeah. Look at Lyrian as well.
Yes,
you know,
again,
Baldur's
that's
Gate
another
3.
example.
Great example. You know, they're literally going on stage saying, "We will never make you pay more than $60 for this game. You get everything. We'll never have DLCs. We'll never have, you know, XYZ. You get it all." And I really respect that about. And they literally said, if you make a good game, you'll make money. That's what they said at the end of that statement.
That's right.
And they're right, dude. They're right. Are there ways to make monetization models like fair for everyone? 100%. Has Star Citizen done that perfectly? Not even close.
Not even close.
Could they?
Yeah, sorry.
I was just gonna say, could they, you know, make that better in the future, and then continue to expand on like cosmetics and like ways to make the game experience more interesting for, you know, monetization models and stuff? Absolutely. We're just gonna have to wait and see how they capitalize on that.
Yeah, and the only reason I never brought up Baldur's Gate is because it's not a live service game. It's not like you buy it and you're done.
You're right. No,
so
you're right.
That model makes sense for that game, but like
Helldivers is
New World 2. Like, what was New World thinking? You just buy it and you're going to play an MMO forever? Like, that was never going to work.
I mean, they did do cosmetics, right?
Yeah, they did, and some of them are actually pretty cool. But they also had, like, when they originally showed their roadmap plan, was you were going to be buying Azoth. You were going to need them. You were going to need to buy things to get skills. Is what it looked like. It was messy because that's what they felt they were going to have to do, and it's just like, we got to get away from this. We don't need to do this. We don't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
ways.
gonna say the S word, dude. I'm gonna say the S word.
It's not an S word here. It is a welcomed word here, sir.
Great,
you are
great.
At home.
I actually think subscription models are fine if they are delivering. If people are delivering, subscription models are fine.
I would be also fine.
You are in a safe space for that.
I think that even like for example, like Star Citizen has a subscription model right now. Most people don't even know about it. and it's for cosmetics. It's kind of smart, honestly. And they could definitely open that up to more features and stuff, and they would get a lot more subscribers for sure. As long as they're not affecting advantages in game, it's fine.
Exactly. And I think they do give you an advantage in game right now, which is it's not just cosmetics, unfortunately, because you're getting armor that you don't need to earn, that you can't buy in game, shit like that, like the FS9s.
But one last thing, I don't even know, I'm not sure if Star Citizen would be a thing without this problematic monetization model at the moment. Because you couldn't
100%.
do Star Citizen with microtransactions. You had to do it with maybe at a point like in a year where it's settled and it has like a bit more content, you could actually offer microtransaction, but until that point, no.
Genuinely, I think a season pass would work for Star Citizen 2. I think they could do it. I think that they can make Star Citizen into like a season style game, 100%. I don't know if that's the direction they want to go, but it would make a lot of sense for like a dynamic universe, right? Like, hey guys, like, you know, Xenothreats attacking this system, or an idea that I had the other day that, again, this sounds way out there, but like 5, 10, 15 years from now, it even could be, right? Is Pyro is going supernova, and it's like a multiple long month event where, like you're evacuating people out, and like, it turns into like a pulsar or something. And, it's ejecting like rare minerals that people want. And, there's like fighting over, territories and stuff, and people are leaving. That could be like lots of really interesting content around that. They could do like vandal attacks and all sorts of stuff, man. Like, it would be really interesting, but I just don't know if that's the direction they want to go in.
Well, they have to go in some direction. Let's see if they are doing the right one.
Yeah, for sure. But all right, Space, we'll let you go because it's been a little bit. We want to get some other callers, and
I know.
Thanks for calling in, bro.
And a happy engagement. Sorry, I forgot that.
Oh, it's all good, man. Thank you, dude. Thank you.
All right,
enjoy, guys. Bye.
Bye now. All right, our next caller is, well, he's got sin in quotation, so I'm going to go with that because Ascendian is hard to say, but I think I got it right. Did I get it right?
Yeah, most people just call me Sin.
All right, cool. I'm gonna put Sin up there as your name then. So, what do you want to talk about, man?
Master modes, how the community's responding, and the doom and gloom around it.
Go for it.
Okay.
So I think people need to calm down a little bit here, right? So 3.23 is coming out. It's brand new. They need time to cook a little bit, as you're saying, right?
I would agree.
And the attacking the devs, that's got to stop. Like, don't attack the devs. Let them do their work, right? It's just a job for them. And if you're going to provide input, you don't try and tell them how to fix the game. These people working on it probably know more than what you do, and they don't really want that kind of input, and they've said it before.
Yeah, like I think, at least with the engineering stuff where I have the most experience with in this patch, it is, hey, this is not fun. Like, chat's not understanding your point of view, so I'm gonna kind of share.
I understand
your
point of view.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't try like to this, clarify and here's why. Not this is how you fix the issue, right?
Exactly. Like, I'll give a perfect example here. Is I think I still have. Yep. Like, this is literally somebody typing in on Spectrum what the keybinds should be.
Yeah.
Nobody needs that. Okay? Nobody needs that because you can literally make them whatever you want them to be, right? Make that yourself, brother. It's okay. But the idea...
That's true, actually.
Right? Like, you could just do it yourself. But the actual... The feedback is done, this is not fun, and this is why. This is fun, and this is why. And then developers will go, oh, so you were having fun? Racers seem to be having fun. Let's build on that. And the racing community never told developers what to do and how to do it. They were just having fun on their own. And look what they got.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like,
so, yeah, I feel a little bad for the racing people right now.
Yeah, they got shit on.
But
yeah.
But it's like, so I'll disagree with you, actually. I think that it's totally okay to tell the devs how to fix a problem. And the reason why is because a lot of the devs don't understand the issues that are in the game, genuinely. Like, for example, that issue that Mike has been talking about with the co-pilot seat bug, that has been in the game for years. And the reason why the devs didn't know about it, hasn't been fixed, is because they just didn't know, obviously. Because otherwise, why hasn't it been fixed?
Yeah, but that's not telling them how to fix the
no. And so
necessarily.
that's I'm setting up the point,
Okay,
which is that a lot of the times the players have more insight into the game than the devs even do.
Yep.
On certain issues.
Yeah.
That being said, they're obviously subject matter experts on how the game's being developed. So I don't think it's wrong for me to be like, hey, this is broken in the game. I'm not having fun with it. Here's example A, how you could fix it, example B, how you could fix it, and example C, how you could fix it. And just give them some options, because as someone who has their, knees deep in the water, I might have like my ear closer to the ground to it than they do. The same way that people who are on staff at CIG who are doing the bug testing, right? The why is my brain skipping right now? The what are people called? No, what are people called who are on staff
live
who
QA.
test QA? Sorry, my brain is not working this morning. But yeah, same as QA are going to have their ear a little bit closer to the ground on some issues than the developers making those features, right? Because they're the ones who are like, hey, I played this like 400 times and turns out this weapon feels bad, or you need to fix this or whatever, right? Because they're the ones who are experiencing it. So, but I think opening up your feedback with criticism, especially like telling the devs they don't know what they're doing, I think is setting yourself up for the devs not to listen to you.
Yeah,
now,
they're gonna immediately ignore it.
Because it's based in bias from the beginning, I think that you can offer feedback and constructive criticism that doesn't attack their intelligence, and I think that that's totally fair. I would love to see I don't know. I really know a lot of the devs are working really hard on this stuff, and I think that the feedback that we should be getting should be constructive, not just being assholes for asshole's sake,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think the model's going to get there, right? So lowering the speeds had to happen. I think that's agreed universally, right? 1200 is way too fast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Yogi knows what he's doing. If you think Yogi doesn't know what he's doing, A1 did a podcast with Tomato a while back that'll kind of ease your mind a little bit.
Yeah,
it's just going to take time for them to put everything in.
Yeah, and that's what I've been saying is just it's a big project, and clearly the heads at CIG have been saying to these guys, you have to make it for 323.
Yeah, definitely.
And I would bet money if Yogi and the other people working on this had a chance to say, hey, we don't want to put this on 323 yet, I bet they would say yes. I bet these guys would be like, hey, we don't want it in yet. We want to finish it first. I bet that that's what their mind is at. But I just think that CIG's pushing for it to be ready for 323. And so it just needs more time to cook. Like I said, does that mean they should be putting in 323? No. But is it coming whether we like it or not? Yes. So let's get feedback based on that.
Gotta rip the Band-Aid off eventually.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of using the experimental mode to just throw things and see what stick, right? Increase the speeds to 500, see what happens. Get feedback, drive on.
Yeah, take the boost limit away for a week, see what happens. Like totally. But the thing to remember too is it's so hard to test this stuff as a PU environment in AC, right? So it's almost like they need like a sell-in with SBK and like a bigger area in AC to test this stuff.
Oh my God. He just mentioned, he goes, it's almost like we need theaters of war. That's basically what you just said.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were able to play it, but in the experimental modes for engineering, the Gladius's speeds was bugged for about 24 hours, so it was completely unlimited, up to 1200. We ended up just capping it off at 500 and seeing how it felt. Felt good.
Yeah.
So there is possibilities to do that stuff.
100%.
They fixed it right away.
Yeah. I think that a lot. So I'll remind people that when 314 came out with the new flight model, it was hated almost unanimously. And they did not give us a chance to test it out before 314, by the way. No. It was like, here it is, guys. This is it. No changes. You get no feedback, no changes. We are not like, this is not a conversation where you get to decide if you like this or A, B, or C. It was literally like, here's the new flight model. And it was kind of surprise too. It was sort of a surprise, like not leading up to the patch, but it was like, oh shit, this is happening. And everyone hated it. And then about 2 months later, people started figuring it out. And then about 2 months after that, people started breaking it. And then here we are today, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
And we had to live with that for a while.
Yep.
If you think Spectrum was bad now, once this goes live and it forces master modes upon the masses, oh, it's going to be grab your popcorn and get.
I'm not sure, dude, because I really do think it's the vocal minority. Like I've run polls, I've talked to people. I'm trying to find the majority of people who hate master modes, and I can't find them. There are people who don't like it.
The PvP community.
Well,
there are people who don't like it.
It's this big, bro. It's so tiny.
Yeah, I get it. No, I get it.
They do need to develop for that community. They have to, but they're not doing it first. That's for sure.
Oh no, they said they aren't going to.
Yeah, and it sucks because there's nothing more I want in this game than to have an end game that is really strong and that is literally war.
I think
like that's what this needs. I think we're still here because we think it will get there, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to take at least a year, but I think it's going to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to like put you guys in a corner and be like, oh, you're just. I think they said like 5 to 7% of the community, so therefore you don't matter. That's not what I'm saying. I just want to make sure that that's really clear.
Oh, I would say
there's nothing more I want than that.
5%. I would say it's under 8%.
They actually posted on Spectrum how much it was. It was around 7. Yeah.
Well, that's surprising.
Yeah. Because I guess that includes like player bounties, FPS, probably everything.
Wait, 7% of what? I was reading chat.
The entire community engages in PvP.
Oh.
I was thinking about the sweaty tryhards that just live in AC.
Which is
probably under 1%.
Yeah, that's under 1%. It's
and that's where you're getting all the diatribes from.
Yeah. But in the end, those are the people that are looking for a certain experience that is really important that just doesn't exist yet. And I think it is that the war, the guild battles, those kind of things that can't happen just yet. And they won't happen if the experience isn't good. So I think that they're like rightfully concerned. The passion is there for a reason. It's just
you can't do fleet battles with 322 combat. I'm telling you guys.
Agreed.
No,
you can't.
Fast. Yeah.
I like the two of the best PvP orgs in the game, Shadow Moses, Avenger 1 Squadron.
Yep.
Fought multiple times in 322. And
nobody knows who won. They both
nobody knows who won. Nobody even knows who won. Like seriously, it's that confusing. People just fly around for an hour, full speed, one person dies, and that's it. You know? Like it's crazy how org combat happens in 322, guys. It's embarrassing. Like I can't show people it. You know, I know what happens whenever I do org combat in 322. My viewers go down every single time because it's so boring to watch. It's so boring to play.
Yeah,
you know. As soon as you get shot at, you just tricord with boost away in a single direction, and that's it. That's the fight.
And the viewer can't understand what's going on either. Like, have you tried to watch Fight or Flight? It's tough. Fight or Flight has so much potential. It's better. Right? It has so much potential,
especially.
Yeah, exactly. It's better. But it's still really hard for the viewer to follow what's going on.
Yeah, with custom lobbies, that's going to be much better now too.
Yeah, and I think within you take master modes and apply that to it, you're actually seeing the ship maybe a little bit more. You're seeing the damage being applied. It'll just be a better experience for the viewer as well. I think, not that matters necessarily for the game, but I think they go hand in hand. If somebody can understand what's going on as a viewer watching somebody else do it, then that means that the experience is probably a little bit easier to engage with for the average player as well, right? So,
agreed.
Yeah, I think it's the Overwatch problem. People don't really know what the fuck's going on.
It just needs a little bit of tuning, right? And standing there and just going into couples, not using any forward, and just being like a kind of a turret in space isn't really that great of a feeling right now, but it'll get better.
Yeah, but I think seeing a little bit of tuning is scary too, because it might take a while.
But that even tuning between like the Buccaneer and the Gladius that isn't the case, right? Like you can definitely zoom past a Gladius. Like there's not like a mirror or like you're just looking at each other Buccaneer Gladius, unless they want to be, right? So it's like these are happening in mirror builds in very unique situations, and I want those to go away, by the way. But it's just not happening in most of the master modes combat.
Yeah.
Yeah, then there's always going to be a meta. There's really no way around that. There's always going to be a ship
Absolutely.
that's better. Like, take a team of Bucks right now. If you take a team of Gladius, the Gladius are going to be food.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
You mean, yeah, and we're talking about equal skill here.
Yeah. So if you put all Omnis or all Ms on a Buccaneer, it's like
Super good.
2-3
Yeah.
shots on a Glad.
3 shots. Yeah, I tested this out the other day. 3 shots.
Bro,
3
if they-
volleys.
If they accidentally
anti-fighter cannons
turn,
are, oof, I don't know.
And there's no
they're
spread on
very
'em.
satisfying. They're very satisfying, but it may be a
yeah,
little too much.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see.
Cannons are meta
See.
now. They don't have spread. There's no cone fire really on them. You can hit at 1 to 2k pretty reasonably. So if you take a turn in a squadron battle and you slow down a little bit, you're done. You're gonna pop immediately.
Yeah. We'll see. Hopefully they tune it. They have maybe 1 or 2 more patches before they're going to want to go live. It would be my guess. But
With
Yeah.
Master Modes?
323 live.
Oh yeah. They were talking about trying to do it this week. I don't see that happening. I could see in mid-May.
It has to happen. There's
definitely,
there's
for
no
sure.
avoiding it. It's happening.
Yeah,
It's happening this week. It can't go any longer. I'm sorry. Like devs were working on Saturday. They said in my chat, I'm working on Saturday. Okay, so we know what's going on. It has to go live. Nothing's stopping that.
You're thinking it's
Not
going live
greatest.
this week?
It has to.
It could, yeah.
Well, okay. It has to if
Service
they're going
ability's got to get better.
Yeah, but what if it does? They'll still go live with it. If they're doing the same thing they did last year, which is this patch goes live with Xeno, then you get one more. Then you go to .1 for the sale. Then it has to go live this week because you have to give them a week for Xeno and then into the sales the following week.
We've still got we have 1 week, 2
You have
weeks,
a week
3
and a half.
weeks.
It's like May 16th or some shit.
We got 3
Like
weeks. No,
19th,
it was
probably.
like
19th
the
to 20th.
20th last year,
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe.
I'll
I
take
could
it
be
back
wrong,
then.
but I believe it was like the 20th or 21st last year.
Chat saying
19th.
it's the
So-
20th. So maybe
Yeah,
not this
so-
week. Okay.
So we have 3 weeks technically.
I think Mother's Day is on the 16th, and that's why I have that in my mind. But yeah.
Dude, I think I remember them releasing it the day after Mother's Day last year.
Okay.
Is maybe what happened. I can't remember.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's definitely gonna have to be within. It's either next week or it's got to be next week. I think you're right, actually. But is the stability gonna get there? Man, I'm putting my hands together and praying.
Bro, they've been trying to fix it since Evo, and they haven't gotten it yet. What makes us think they're going to do it in a week? I don't know.
Every time
I don't
I've
know,
gone
but
into
man,
the,
it's gonna be really hard for me to it's gonna be really hard to me to endorse this patch, even if it's great, if the service abilities are not good.
Exactly.
So let's hope, man. I really think that the right move would be CIG delaying Invictus even. I know that sounds crazy, but they're going to lose so much trust with the community if they release this patch and it's in a really bad state.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be 318 again, man. I really hope that's not the case because this has the ability to be what 318 wasn't, which was the most hype patch of all time. So let's see what they do, man. Let's see what they do.
Sin, any last things before we let you go?
I'll add on to that. So I basically live in Arena Commander, it's like solely. Occasionally go into the PU. So I've tried to go into the PU, spent maybe 5 hours on it. I have yet to been able to get from Crusader and land on Seraphim. I have seen Seraphim a couple times. I have not been able to land on it. And that's about it.
Yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough. I haven't been able to do much in terms of I guess like distribution center stuff because of that. I've just had so many problems. But
Someday.
yeah,
Good talk. Berks,
All right, man.
congratulations.
Yo, thank you, man. I appreciate it, dude. Maybe I'll see you in some AC soon.
Yeah, I'm an Ethan in Avenger Squadron. If you ever want to stop
Cool.
by.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good, dude.
Yeah,
Yep,
and we'll definitely be bringing I want to, and Berks, if you're down too, have the round table around master modes when it's actually in and have cooked for a little while in 323 and just talk have I just sit here and do nothing,
Sure.
and you guys talk about it for the most
Ring
part.
the
I'm
bell.
just
Sure.
yeah. So that's the plan. We talked a lot about Avenger, and I don't like talking about people's
Yeah,
opinions
the
without
only
them being here to defend themselves. I hate that
the only
shit.
reason I bring it up is because he has some of the most strong opinions on it, and
absolutely.
like I said earlier, is like I hate when people bring him up and they're using his outdated opinions of
Yep.
something they heard 2 months ago from him,
Exactly.
and I'm like, God, dude, I just heard that Avengers liking this patch, or whatever, and it's like, okay, I want to make sure people are using the right information,
Yeah.
because people's opinions do change,
Of course.
yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see where it's at in a couple weeks. But yeah, I think obviously, he's just makes combat content, so that's why he's the head of a lot of these discussions.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Sin, we'll let you go, bro, and thank you for the call. And yeah, 100% right. Let's let
GG's,
him
man.
cook.
Thanks for joining.
Later, bro. That was a good call. All right, we got Jedi Menace next, and our final call for the day. What up, Jedi?
All right.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Yo,
How are
how's
you?
it going?
I'm good. I would like to offer my condolences to Berks before we start.
Oh man, thank you. I'll take them seriously.
All right. Now, I'm relatively new to Star Citizen. Unlike a
Okay.
lot of people who've been back in I've been following it from the earlies, but I only basically got my starter pack a little under 2 years ago.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm new. And one of the things they talk about with this discourse about master mode is a lot of people just don't know how to talk to other people.
Yeah, it's the gaming community.
Yeah, it is. Now, me personally, I flip-flop in games between PvE and PvP. It depends on my mood. Sometimes I'm doing a lot of PvE, other times I'm doing a lot of PvP. That's just how I am.
You talking
Me
about in
personally-
Star Citizen or just games overall?
Games
Gotcha.
overall.
Gotcha.
Right? So when it comes to Star Citizen and Master Mode, I'm looking forward to it. Mainly because even before talk of Master Mode, when I engage in PvE combat with ship combat, I literally drop down my speed.
Yeah.
So I already been doing that. So to me, a slower speed for Master Mode for combat.
You know what, bro? You're right. Actually, I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
But you're right. When you do PvE combat, you slow down in 322.
You like fight correctly.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Continue though.
Yeah, I've decided not to learn how to fly properly right now because I know the flight model is changing. Why learn a bunch of wrong habits now that you have to unlearn and change up things? So once Master Mode has been released and they fine tune a lot more stuff for the base iteration, and because that's how I view it. This isn't this is it. No, this is the initial base iteration, and I'll build from there. So that is when I'll start really learning to fine tune my flying for combat, and then probably start to get into more PvP. Right? So a lot of people want to make a lot of noise and stuff like that. I do have some concerns about Master Mode,
Sure.
but I see it as because a lot of other things isn't in the game yet. We don't have armor. They haven't reworked the weapons in the game. These kind of things. So, for example,
Quantum boost.
Right. No shields in nav mode really will matter more because we don't have armor. If we have armor, taking a few hits while in nav mode is less of an issue. So all these little things. Right?
Yeah, and for people who are feeling that feeling, go try the engineering mode because they basically made the ship health so strong that ship health no longer exists. It's not a thing.
It's good.
So like you kind of get we don't have armor yet, but you kind of get the intention that they have there, which is pretty cool.
Soft death, it should feel exactly like that. I've been advocating that since soft death came out.
It's not
because what is soft death?
Change.
Yeah, soft death getting bigger, just it extends gameplay. Survivability,
100%.
rescue, boarding, piracy, anything.
Soft death is
bounty
probably
hunting.
the best change made in the last couple of years, I would say, to the game overall. For PvP maybe, or whatever. I think it's been awesome.
You know what? I'm curious. Would you be able to bedlog in a soft death ship?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I
If
never
no, I mean
tried.
if you're out of combat. No, I mean in the future.
Oh, well,
I mean in the future, not
Well, they
now. I
talked
know
about
you can't do it
changing-
now.
Yeah, they talked about changing logging completely. So
yeah, who knows?
probably.
Because
We'll
like I
see.
think in
don't
the
know.
future, you're gonna log out and you'll just so if you log out correctly, I think and you're not in a capital ship, you either log out at a station or you log out in a ship. What's gonna happen is that ship is gonna despawn, is what they've said.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a capital ship, they haven't really clarified on that yet. It may or may not, especially because they may just always be in the universe. But if you just log out and you're in your soft death ship, you lay down on the bed or whatever, even if it is soft death, you should wake up right where you were in the future. But your ship is going to stay there the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to despawn, is what I would
Okay.
imagine how it'd work.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Engineering. Now, there's a lot of things in my mind. My main thing about engineering that I'm wondering how they're going to implement is for single crew ships, single seat fighters, smaller ships. Because I expect engineering in the capital ships, in the larger ships, 890 jump, Karak, these kind of things. Because you should have more people on your ship. You should have people to okay.
You
and
watch
you.
ISC today or this week?
Yes, I look
Okay.
at it.
Okay, cool.
Right. So, but for the single seat fighters, smaller ships, because that's what the majority of people will have, right? And as you said earlier, these are the kind of things that will be rolled out to every ship eventually. Their first iteration is with the larger ship where you would expect these things to be, but eventually, just as master mode, engineering will be a part of all ships. How you will be managing that when you're also flying the ship, I'm curious as to what direction they would do, how they would implement it to make it not just fun, but something you could do while in combat, maybe. I don't know. So
Totally.
that's just the points about that. And as I said, I'm willing to see what I want to see CIG's vision. A lot of people want their own version of the game, and a lot of times when a game, not just a Citizen, they want the same. They don't want anything different. But then they complain that there's nothing new. I was like, but you don't want new. You want the same old all the time. I want to see their vision, and if it's a vision that I'm okay with, cool, I'll continue. If not, I move on. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think one of the biggest problem is how much people have invested. And because of how much they have spent, now they feel
Time investment
obligated to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, time and money. People feel very entitled.
But also to like, yeah, you want to see their vision. They've shared their vision throughout the 12 years, but they're constantly changing it, and that's the frustrating part. And I think people get stuck on like, hey, this is I heard them say something and they get caught on that part of the vision, and it's like, damn, when they don't get it, it's really shitty. I think a lot of people are experiencing that with master modes as well, and some things, and they're feeling like it's going in a direction that is going away from that vision that they had, right? Same with the FPS stuff. They used to call it the best damn space sim ever. Now they're calling it an MMO. They're changing. They're moving the bar all the time, and I understand the frustrations from people in those aspects. I won't defend the way they communicate those frustrations. I certainly have been a fucking idiot when I've complained my frustrations at times, but it's not defendable. There's also reasons for it. Like, it is a result of the actions of the people who are making decisions at the company and deciding the way they want to communicate those decisions change every year for some reason. So it's not a great thing either.
It's tough, man.
Yeah, I don't. Like Berks said, we don't envy their situation. It's not a fucking easy one.
But like, also on top of that, Mike's right. Like at one point, remember when the mole came out and they said, "We're gonna stop doing concept ships, guys."
Yeah,
that was when they said it. They said, "Guys, we're gonna stop doing concept ships. We're sorry,
bro.
We're gonna start doing straight to flyable ships."
They're making the boarding ship right now. You think that motherfucker's coming with hacking and is going to be able to board everything? No shot. You're going
No.
to fly that thing around and drop ship off people. Oh my god, it's like it's Helldivers light or some shit. That's all it's going to be.
Yeah.
No, okay. Now I agree with you. And it is true. Maybe it's how the people express their disdain. But I have seen a shift. I didn't know that they said they wasn't going to do concept shift. I didn't hear about that. But what I did notice is they have talked so far releasing ship. They will still sell you the concept, but releasing ships without either the gameplay or the feature in. So
Yeah.
that's probably why the C1 took so long to release. Because I'm like, why can't I release it? And I was like, they're probably waiting for ship tractor beam to be working better. It's probably also why we haven't seen the Apollo yet, because they're waiting until they rework the medical gameplay. So because I think they won't want a repeat of the the salvaging, the big salvage ship,
Reclaimer.
Reclaimer, and also with the MSR. I think they don't want a repeat of those things. So they will still sell you the concept.
Yeah, but this is
But
the ship that I'm mentioning is a concept ship that was a hacking ship and a boarding ship that is being developed right now. Like it's in gray box. Do you think that that's legitimately going to come with hacking gameplay and they haven't spoken about it once?
What they'll probably do is they'll sell you the concept and it wouldn't come out yet.
No, it's
until
not a
that point in time.
The concept already happened. It's in development.
All right.
Yeah, so this is this is the example of the opposite of what you're saying. Is the Legionnaire is it's called the Legionnaire. It was already in concept. And now it's going to be developed and put into the game for us to use. But it has these mechanics that they have not spoken about working on. So there's no chance that it's coming with those mechanics. So they're going against their word again. It's just me reiterating the example of they've set expectations here and over there and over there, and everybody who wants to defend or argue has a point to grab from, because CIG has been so all over the place that you can defend them and argue against them in the same point. Right?
Yeah. And that's the thing, because everyone's, especially if they have experienced something, then it is a valid concern, a valid criticism, a valid feeling, because that's what they have experienced. I'm not discounting none of that.
Yeah.
All right. But I want to move on quickly to monetization.
Yeah, and then do you mind if we end there on monetization?
Yeah.
Is that cool? All right, cool.
Yeah, let's start on one more short thing I want to say.
Sure.
I like your idea about monetizing of the decoration for your houses or habitation.
Yeah.
That sells well in all games. I know people who have spent,
of course,
way
fucking
too
Sims.
much money into that. Yeah.
Holy shit.
But there's a trend in games for the longest while where, and this thing that they talk about with Star Wars, last Star Wars game with the Day One DLC, it's a repeat of creating a problem to sell you a solution.
Yeah.
That we've seen it happen way too much time, and I really hope CIG don't do this, because this is why a lot of people flock to Helldiver, because you don't have that going on. And the last point I wanted to talk about was, I always said that I think they've tried to include way too much stuff in 323. Because
you're probably right there. Yeah.
Testing and resolving the issues more difficult, because you have more, factors to, and points of.
You're definitely right.
They should have focused on a few things. Okay, 323 will be this, 2321 would be this, And when server meshing and they say replication is supposed to be in 323, that's gonna break a lot of stuff, just as with persistence. That's gonna, because on that back end level stuff, it's gonna be heavy. So we're gonna have a tough time.
You're 100% right. Do you know what I struggle with though? all the Squadron 42 devs came over from Squadron 42. These are features that are polished, that have been worked on for years, possibly. Like these things, this was supposed to be the smoothest experience. This was supposed to be like, hey, this was supposed to be the example of like, all right, this is what happens when these devs move over and everything's going well.
Well, here's the
Let
thing,
me-
but here's the deal, right? So two things. One, I want to address what you said, which is that there's too much in 323. I'm glad there's too much in 323. It's a good
True.
problem to have.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have, and I think them taking out the cargo lift things are example of there was too much, right? It couldn't make it stability wise. But the other thing is Squadron 42 devs don't have to deal with server stability, right? And
Yes.
so that's a big underlying issue as well. Not saying that I'm giving them a free pass on this. Again, if this patch is awful, it's on CIG. It's their fault. It's nobody's fault but CIG. It's not, oh, well, we didn't test hard enough, or oh, they just didn't have enough
somebody
time.
said that on my Discord today.
It's all
thank you,
yeah.
Evo Cotty testers. You did such a great job. And I was like, are
Yeah,
you
what about
fucking kidding me?
What about QA? You know, it's not our fault. If this patch is bad, the only person to blame, or people to blame, is CIG. It's completely on them, because the truth of the matter is even if they don't want to delay Invictus, even if they don't want to delay a ship sale, even if they don't want 322 to be the patch that Invictus is in, that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the experience is on them and nobody else.
No, it's not just when it coming from a single player to multiplayer, the server issues and stuff. But you because the testers, the QA testers, they will find certain things. Then the EvoCat you will find. But when you get it out to the wider public and people start to do all kind of stuff that nobody even thought, why the hell would you even think about doing this? People will come up with these things, and that's when you'll find stuff that you just never even conceptualize. So you have that going on top of everything.
It's true.
But thanks for having me. And
hey,
all
really
have a
quick
good
before
day.
you go, if you don't mind answering, where are you from, man? I love your accent.
Trinidad. Everybody asks me that question.
Nice, dude. Yeah, I love your accent, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, I always tell them, because I used to work in a casino with so many, like it was a huge Caribbean neighborhood, that it like brings me home. It's my favorite group of people in the entire planet. There's no
we try to be fun. We try to be fun.
Exactly. There's no one better than Caribbeans. They're the best.
Hell yeah.
All right, Jedi.
All right. Thanks for having me.
We'll let
Have
you
a good
go,
one.
dude. All right. That's where we call it, Berks.
Awesome, dude.
Appreciate you coming on. And do you have any things going on? Anything you want to tell people?
No. Just excited for 323.
Yeah.
That's all. I'm putting my hands together. I'm on my knees. I'm praying, Chris Roberts, please
be good.
Give us 323 and it not be bad. Like that's all I want. I don't even care if it's delayed. I don't care if, they have to cut stuff out. I don't care if they have to take distribution centers out, whatever. But as long as it's stable, as long as it's good, I'll be happy. Like as long as a lot of the UI and the changes are stuff in, and then they can get the stability going later and add the stuff back in. I mean, that would be the move in my opinion.
True.
Right. It's just like, we can't do this anymore. Like we cannot have these unstable releases anymore. And the other thing is CIG has got to stop surprise launching patches. What are they doing with that?
What do you mean?
Say like, okay, hey guys, the 323 patch is ready. We're so excited to be launching it to you guys on May 16th. That's what they need to be doing. It's ready. It's good to go. It's stable. It's good.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
Give us a release date now. Yep. Like every other video game, we have to move towards that. Surprise, it's ready is just not cutting it for people anymore. And the same with events, right? Events should be exactly the same way.
Yep. It should be ready to go and tested weeks before it's ready to launch. And yeah, I don't know. I can't add any more to anything other than that. So that's yeah, we've talked about that before. You're 1,000% right, but I think that's where we leave it. Thank you for coming on, Berks. I'll leave all of Berks's links in the description. I think they might actually already be there. YouTubers, people in the YouTube chat, let me know if they're already there. They should be. And if not, I'll put them there. You guys know Berks on Twitch, but twitch.tv/Berks. If you guys haven't yet, we can throw them a little shout out. Any mods in chat, and yeah, schedule's obviously changed a little bit. Are you on like a more consistent one? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm streaming every day, but Sundays and Tuesdays now.
And it's still weekday evenings?
No, dude, I'm doing
old
noon.
time. Yeah.
Old time.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Cool.
I got a freelance gig that allows me to be more flexible and work at night.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing streaming 5 days a week again. I'm super excited.
We're glad to have you back. It didn't feel right. Like the world did not feel right without you around. I'm dead serious. It bothered me. I had a really hard time when Berks wasn't around. I was asking like D-Rack, have you talked to him? Is everything okay? And stuff.
Oh,
so,
man.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I was out of commission for a while for sure. But yeah, it's good to feel back for sure.
So we got to do something awkward now. Do you have your phone?
Yeah. What's up?
We gotta remind people that they gotta answer the call.
What do you mean, bro? Hey, listen, I'm holding the line.
Oh shit! Nice. All right.